and then she said, "Fourth time's the charm," and she just twisted it. She twisted it. No. Ironically, though, the fourth time didn't do anything.
No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Big Damn Cast. I am Jose Conseco.
I am the boy of your dreams.
And we are here to dish out audible filth into your ears. That's right, we are sponsored this week by Filth. The James McAvoy movie from 2013.
Have you seen Filth, the James McAvoy
No, I've
movie?
not seen Filth. Is it like
it's
Shame?
Very good.
Is it like Shame?
No, it's much
Is it
funnier
a prequel
than Shame.
X-Man being filthy?
It's much funnier than Shame, but it's also, in some ways, darker. It's very dark.
Very dark.
Very dark, very dark. Ooh, very dark.
Darker than a Bourneville.
But it's a good laugh, and Jim Broadbent plays a sentient tapeworm, so there is that.
I'm sorry. What are we doing recording this podcast? Why are we not watching that?
Bruce, yes.
Is that what he talks?
Got to take the pills, Bruce, yes.
Is that what he talks?
Yeah.
God, I want to watch this so bad.
It's very good.
Oh my god.
It's just, it's a hard watch.
Speaking of hard watch, there's no segue here. This week saw the release of Spider-Man Homecoming. What do we think of it? Ask us next week. This is pre-recorded.
It will have seen a release the day this goes out on YouTube, the day after it goes out on SoundCloud.
The future! We'll talk about Spider-Man Homecoming next week.
Yes.
As well as another part of the Spider-Man cinematic legacy. But this week, what are we talking about, Matt? What's our menu this week?
We're going to have a look at the little trailers that came out and came all over our faces.
Yes.
Jumanji, Inhumans, and Cult of Chucky.
But did we spit or did we swallow? Find out in a moment.
It's going everywhere. It's on my chest.
What's the main course, you beautiful bear of a man?
The main course is Spider-Man steak
Mm-hmm.
a la
Yes.
Sam Raimi
I like what you did there.
with a sauce of the early 2000s.
I mean, it got a bit convoluted toward the end, but
Yeah, listen,
I'll take it.
Shut up. Because for dessert, we've got an email cheesecake
Yes, we do.
with a Doctor Who coolie.
Oh, you beautiful man.
I
Oh
am.
my god. The only way this evening could be more perfect is if Bruce Campbell was serving it.
Oh, Bruce.
Sweet Bruce. It's a shame, isn't it?
He's not dead.
No, he's not dead. He's not dead. Oh, references to the future for us, but the past for everyone else. Hey! So, first off, let's talk trailers, you handsome swine. What came out this past week? And by past week, I mean last week when we recorded this. My dears.
Jumanji.
Yes, well, the newly retitled...
Jungle, Welcome to the Jumanji.
Wait. Welcome. Jumanji to the Jungle. Welcome to Jumanji Jungle.
Well, this stars Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
Johansson.
Jacqueline Blackley,
Jacqueline Blacklin.
Kevin Hart,
Kevin Huate.
small man,
The tiny individual.
and
Karen
Gillan, and both of her legs.
Yes. It's hard to miss, really.
All
isn't
of
it?
them. Just all 70 feet of them.
Kicking, leaping, and
70 feet
probably
of
getting their own paychecks.
kicking legs.
So, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle trailer came out now. This is a film that's been a bit of a controversy since it was announced, because everyone was like, what? You can't remake Jumanji? And then it came out that...
Why is the only female character barely dressed?
Yeah, well, don't worry, they reference it.
No, that was okay, right? Just like the stripper dressing.
Oh, God. But, it's...
Yeah.
They confirmed that, no, it's not. It's not a remake. It's in the same universe as the first one. The first film happened. So it's like, so this is like The Thing sort of thing then, is it? They've just got the same title. Yeah, they've obviously chickened out on that. It's now called Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
The second Welcome to the Jungle in which Dwayne The Rock Johnson has starred.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. So, what is it a sequel to?
The film that's known as The Rundown. in the States, it's called Welcome to the Jungle over here with The Rock and Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
You know, Stifler. Remember when he had a career?
Oh!
Bulletproof Monk is now on Amazon Prime. No, on Netflix. I was scrolling through the recently added
Well,
stuff,
we're watching Bulletproof
Monk?
I sense a movie night coming on.
It's not very good.
A very drunken movie night.
It's fine.
Oh, God.
It's not very
Who's
good.
in that? Is it Chun Yao-fat?
Yeah.
Of course, because that was when they were trying to, it was like Hollywood was almost trying to appropriate him as a person and a culture.
Pretty good as Chun Yao-fat.
He's great, but it was during this weird period they were like, we're going to put him in everything.
But just go and watch Hard Boiled, that's all you need, really. Or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, he's great in that. Oh, Michelle Yeoh's great. Oh, man, that's a great movie. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is really good.
But tell you what might be good, possibly.
Jumanji.
Welcome to the Jungle.
To the Jungle.
Now, it's evident immediately from this trailer that this is not your dad's Jumanji.
Which is good, because,
you shouldn't try and ape and mimic the last one. Now, here's the thing about Jumanji. I'm going to say something that's going to rile some people here.
Okay, go for it.
Jumanji is a wonderful film.
Yeah.
With some fantastic performances.
Yeah.
And some really cool set pieces.
Yeah.
It's not a great movie.
Yeah.
Its CGI has aged terribly.
Well, like monkey
the monkeys, the spiders in the wide shots, the monkey child face, it's all aged horribly. But it's the central performance from Robin Williams, it's the set pieces with the practical effects, it's the really cool, old school pith helmet style game hunter villain, all of that.
Who was also the big bad of the cartoon series.
Yes.
Which had that wonderfully weird animation, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that thing where Nick was sort of trying to still be... Oh, God, what was the one with the monsters that they did?
Real Monsters.
Yeah, what was it called?
Real Monsters.
Real Monsters. So it tried to keep kind of the shading style and the outline look of those shows, but at the same time... It's sort of take the Wild Thornberrys, but put it through the filter.
It was similar to the Wild Thornberrys.
Put it through the filter of Real Monsters and Ren and Stimpy and those kind of looks.
Maybe
Jumanji
a bit of
sort
Beetlejuice.
of... Yeah,
Beetlejuice series.
Beetlejuice the show, where Lydia hangs out with her would-be...
creepy dead ex-husband.
Yeah, and they never reference it. And it's well, I'm glad they don't, because it makes it really awkward, but I saw the film. Their relationship should not be like this.
Do they go tropical?
Not yet.
Oh.
Give it time. Oh, God.
It's going to be Michael Keaton's next film post-Spider-Man.
I mean, let's be honest. If it was by this point, we'd go, he's obviously done it for a reason, and it's either a giant paycheck or because it's a story worth telling. Let's find out. Haven't we said all we need to say with Beetlejuice? Must we go tropical?
Yes.
Yes, oh, God.
Will they get Jeffrey Jones back?
Can
I tell you about when we watched that and those scenes where he's gazing at the neighbours through the binoculars? So
whole new meaning.
So much creepier. God, we're getting so off track. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yes. Right, so everyone has nostalgia goggles for Jumanji. I would argue it's not a very... Oh, God. I would argue it's not the same way that the moment you put Hook under the magnifying glass, you're there is so much that is wonderful about this, but it's not brilliant. Being a child of the 90s, being a child of the 80s, that has affected our opinion of a lot of the movies of that time.
But it's not very good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is not wrong to like it. I mean, Christ, I wish I could enjoy every movie I see. I wish I could, but I can't, because I'm a critical little bitch. And Jumanji's one of those...
critical little bitch.
Jumanji's one of those that I really enjoy it, but it's down to essential performance and the set pieces more than anything. And it's sort of the feel of the movie. It feels like very old school adventure. It's got that Spielbergian kind of story of kids getting up to shenanigans. And
where are the parents?
Yeah, all that good shit.
It's always the question.
So, it's got that sort of vibe. This new one looks like it's nothing to do with that. However, once the trailer is viewed with thine eyes, you can kind of see where they're coming from with it. And I'm more on board with it now. So the main premise is 4 kids, for various reasons, the principals decide to give them detention. One of them
4 high school kids who are clearly played by people in their mid-20s.
Yeah. One of them is sort of the preppy, cheerleadery, doesn't give a damn about anyone else. It's all about a self, me sort of kid.
Are you going to help us, or are you too pretty? I'm too pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that
spelled
wasn't
out.
A bad line, actually. That was quite good.
Then you've got the 2 lads. We don't really see so much about what their beef is.
You've got the
nerdy
lad, and you've got the looks like the jock lad.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, that would make more sense based on what happens.
And then they have the role reversal, yeah.
And then they've got the sort of got the Shire girl, the Wallflower. They're basically forced as detention to clear up the school's basement. And while there, they find, what was it? Was it an Atari?
It looks like an Atari.
And they find Jumanji, the game. So it's not the board game, it's a cartridge.
Which I think is a really smart
yeah, it's interesting.
For the really smart way to
I can't deny, I feel like a bit sad that we've lost the whimsy of a board game that does something mystical. Because even in the original Jumanji, it wasn't like, yay, a board game! When they're playing, it's sort of like, oh, I guess we'll play this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I think you mentioned...
Plus there was that whole thing of like, holding it, you could kind of feel the power coming from it.
The power of the Jumanji.
You know what I mean? And also, it's in the same universe as Zathura. Zathura is a not a spin-off from Jumanji, but it's a story from the same world.
I have not seen Zathura.
It's
is it any good?
It's not great.
It's
a board game based around aliens and interstellar travel,
isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. That's what I did before Iron Man.
It's not astounding. It's Kristen Stewart's like first role as a teen actress, as opposed to a kid actress as well. She's the older sister in it.
Oh.
And we studied part of it in for media, I think, in high
Dissected it
school
under the
during the
microscope.
GCSE. We were showing a clip and we had to write about it. And I was like, what a weird pick. But yeah, it's just, like, this is technically the third movie, I guess, in a series.
In the Jumanji-verse.
Yeah. Oh God! Don't give Sony ideas.
The Jumanji shared
Don't
universe.
you dare do
Listen,
it.
we just have so many rich characters in the deep Jumanji universe we want to tell stories about. So we'll be announcing Big Mustachioed Big Game Hunter solo movie.
I mean, I'd watch that.
Starring Tom Hardy.
Oh Christ! When's it coming out? When's it coming out? In less time than it takes to make a film. Great!
But we don't have Robin Williams, unfortunately, because he's not with us any longer. So we're actually going to splice together footage from all of his movies and CGI it into the genie from Aladdin, which we have on loan from Disney.
Oh God! Isn't that right, Kevin Feige? Why are you looking at me like that?
What?
Says Amy Pascal.
Sorry.
They pick characters. And from what we can see, they just sort of
Silver Sable Black Widow team up movie.
They just don't even. We will talk about that next week. But they get into like they pick characters and like the the Valley Girl goes for the one who's basically called like
it's the curvy
like something like
explorer or something like that.
It's something like the curvy historian or something like that. Whatever. Like she picks the one, and then their name is. Like, I can't remember the name is, but it's not like clearly a bloke or whatever.
It's not clearly gendered.
So she picks that. And then they get zapped into the game, and suddenly they wake up as The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. So already we're seeing the exteriors. They're all dressed in the various things. Like Kevin Hart sort of looks like the dumpy little comedy explorer. Like The Rock looks like the action hero. Karen Gillan looks like Tomb Raider-esque kind of.
Why are my legs and midriff exposed in the jungle?
And they don't respond, but it's like, see, we've addressed it.
We've addressed it. Now you can stop. Can you? We shall see. We shall see how it's handled.
Jack Black in sort of, pith, tweed, bow tie, all this stuff. And
because this is actually
a
spin-off from the Peter Jackson King Kong as well.
No,
it's actually that character's great-grandson.
No. We never refer to that. The one and only time where I watched Jack Black deliver a line and went, no. And sort of walked away from the screen and went and made a cup of tea. He butchered "'Twas Beauty Killed the Beast." He was the wrong actor for that role.
"'Twas beauty killed this beast."
If it said it like that, I would have loved it.
Apparently, Jack Black's had some really good dramatic roles recently. But
No,
I've not seen any of them.
Wasn't the planes? "'Twas beauty killed the beast."
No, you're not the beast until you kill the beast.
Oh God! I'd watch that.
But the legend of the beast was way past you.
I would watch that version happily. Oh God! He's the Valley Girl. So when she sees the reflection of the water, she's like, "Oh my god! I'm a fat middle-aged man."
Yes, I'm an overweight middle-aged man.
So the appeal of this movie is no longer, it's Jumanji or whatever. The appeal of this movie to me, based on that trailer, solely is, oh my god, it's these four actors playing playing young kids with completely different personalities.
Playing against type.
And also playing against the visual of their character. Their characters all look a certain way, and they're not allowed to act that way. Because the Wallflower is like the, sex pushed heroine character. No, the heroine character who's designed the sex appeal.
Heroine.
That's the one. Like the nerd is in the superhero size
muscly
guy's body. The jock is in the tiny little comedy dude.
Where's my top 2 feet gone?
Yeah, I've lost 2 whole foot. It's like, oh god. So that's the appeal to me now. Having seen the trailer, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Watching those 4 actors play with that.
I think it looks really fun.
And it's making hippos scary again, so that's always
god, yeah.
Fucking scary hippos.
Yeah, I love a scary hippo.
Row, blow, joke, flow, hippo.
Hey, but you know what giant animal isn't scary?
Oh?
The big inhuman doggy, Lockjaw. They're doing Lockjaw on screen and it looks so good.
Now...
What I did was stop and he teleported me down. Who's a big teleporter boy? Who's a big teleporter doggy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
What Matt's referring to is the live-action representation of Lockjaw in the trailer for The Inhumans.
Who's a doggy?
The Inhumans is, I believe, an 8-part ABC series, like Agent Carter. This is essentially the Agent Carter replacement, isn't it? In terms of where it fits in the budget and everything.
But it's a short season. It's not an
short season. And the first 2 episodes are a 2-parter or directly, can be joined up together and are being edited together and released as an IMAX preview a week before the airing of, I think, both episodes.
Yeah.
So essentially, The Inhumans was on Marvel's movie slate as of 3 years ago, was removed about 1.5 years ago, and now it's like, yeah, we're not doing the Inhumans movie, but we're doing the Inhumans TV show, and you can watch the first part of that show as a movie experience in theatres.
The Inhuman royal family living on the motherfucking moon!
Son!
Living on the moon!
Oh my god, so we're going into Fantastic Four territory here of
they're living
the different parts of the moon.
On the moon. And it's only a matter of time till they find us up here. NASA's never going to the moon again, not as long as Trump's president. There is no moon.
Besides, there's loads of Transformers all over it, apparently.
That's no moon. That's a space station.
It's like 100 million voices all cried out at the same time. Could you believe that? At the same time. They were all saying it at the same time. Unbelievable.
Everyone
and
knows
then
the moon's made of cheese.
They were silenced! They were silenced! Forever. Hand gestures and all. So, the Inhumans are on the moon. Yeah. They're fear of exposure, and who is it who Ramsey Bolton's playing?
Maximus the Mad.
It's Maximus the Mad.
Brother of Blackagar Boltagon, King of the Inhumans.
Rises up.
It's Blackagar Boltagon.
Should we just call him by his superhero moniker?
Actual name.
Let's just call him by superhero moniker or I might puke.
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, there we go.
Blackagar Boltagon.
No! Blah! Kagar Boltagon.
We see Karnak, we see Triton, we see Crystal, we see Medusa. Medusa looks
now, here's
fucking cool.
She does in motion, and that teaser poster, that teaser shot from a couple weeks ago, she looked dumb as all hell. Like, the wig looked really weird and everything.
I know, but she's got such a great jawline. She's got a really...
Yeah.
Oh,
she looks like a John Romita Sr. illustration.
She's statuesque.
Doesn't she? She sort of looks like John Romita Sr.'s, like...
She's got that sort of, like, really chiseled profile of a John Romita
like
Jr.
the cheek meets the jaw and everything. But also... one thing I was disappointed with in the trailer, because I'll say this, well, 2 things. One, it's not a very well edited trailer. It's really
not
weird.
Particularly.
But the other thing that was disappointing, we don't see Medusa's power in action.
No.
I wanted at least just one shot of, holy shit, that hair is alive. Yeah, that'll be why.
Fucker to animate.
Let's put it in a TV series. But I'll tell you this, though, it looks pretty cool. Black Bolt, stoic and quiet and everything. You feel the genuine fear, like Maximus even rising up against him in that trailer. It looks like Black Bolt is going to say something, and he immediately is like, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!" Like you from the trailer, if you knew nothing about the Inhumans, you watch that trailer and be like, "He's not spoken yet." Then he goes to speak, and the villain panics, like fear on his face. You see that and you go, oh. And then they give you that tiny glimpse of what he's capable of at the end. When he's getting detained by the police on Earth, and they smack him in. He gets like a truncheon to the stomach, and he just sort of exhales like a little sort of, and it blows a police car over and down the road.
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit. And also Lockjaw. I think Lockjaw's the highlight of the trailer. Because when he first shows up, it's in like a big swirl of CGI, and you're like, oh, is that how they're going to do it? You're not really going to see him. No, then like 2 seconds later, he materializes in the middle of a street in like New York, and it's just like tongue out, just panting, just like, and they've gone full on. They've just gone. What is he? Bulldog?
He's a bulldog,
yeah, they've just gone bulldog. Giving him a tiny little thing on his forehead.
Bulldog.
There it is. That's all you need in it. And then he gets a shot at the end, being all adorable.
He's just a giant. In the comics, he hangs out with Kamala Khan for a while. Like
Miss Marvel,
Medusa gives him to Kamala Khan because she's an Inhuman.
Okay. Oh yeah, because that was all part of the post. Infinity. Yeah.
Yeah. The Inhumanity Fallout thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she has Lockjaw for a while. I'm going to find a picture for you while you keep talking.
So I'm pretty excited for it. I'm not like Marvel movie excited, and it's sort of we've been told to think of it the same way that Amy Pascal's trying to pass off the Sony movies, and that the same way we think of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows. It's like, it's not immediately going to impact on the movies in any way. It might be mentioned, it might be referenced in the motion pictures, but it won't be, something that you have to see as part of the MCU.
However, would mention the big old
teleporting bulldog. If they don't throw a mentioning of that at some point, it would be a bit of a wasted opportunity.
There's the picture.
But, look, and she can hug him because she can stretch her arms. She can give him like tickles behind his ear and everything. Oh, that's really cute. Hello, my name is Lockjaw. I like hugs. Yeah, he does.
He's so big though.
He's adorable. I love the fact they've not shied away from that. You know that we're in the post-Marvel superhero movie era when they go, we're going to have the giant teleporting bulldog. Because of course we are. We've had the talking raccoon and the tree. It's already a gif. So Inhumans looks like fun. I think we'll definitely be going to see the IMAX screenings when they go
Oh
up.
Boy, will I. And I never go to the IMAX screenings because IMAX is overpriced.
Ha-ha! But now you've got Limitless, so you only have to pay like £3.
Yeah, still too much.
Do you know what isn't too much? In fact, it's too little? I don't know. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, actually. But I'm excited for the movie itself. The trailer, however, I feel okay with it. Cult of Chucky. The 7th movie in the Child's Play series. The 2nd movie since Don Mancini moved it exclusively to the home video market for releases. Because he was like, look, Universal, you want to do something with the Chucky property. You've been bandying around the idea of a remake of Child's Play for years. You're not doing anything with it, though. Give me a budget of $5 million, and I'll make you a Chucky movie.
Give me $5 million and a few good men, and I'll move the mountain for you.
I think in the end it was actually $20 million for Curse of Chucky. I think double for the marketing.
Well, they have to get Brad Dourif back, and someone's got to keep him in eyebrow wax.
Oh, of course, and also on camera as well because he's in that one.
Yeah,
in flashbacks.
Yeah. Fantastic wig.
Yeah, it is. It's like they went right, Brad. We need to make Brad look. We need to make Brad. No, I've seen him. He's sort of got like short, wispy grey hair at the back. But it's like we need to make Brad Dourif look like he did in the 80s. Quickly to the fancy dress department. Look for the Tommy Wiseau costume and wig.
And let's get Jane Franco to do the voice.
Oh, hi, doggy. Oh, God. Can't wait for that to come out as well. But, so, yeah. Cult of Chucky's the follow-up to that movie. Curse of Chucky was really good. It took the series back to the roots of it just being horror. Like, it had a dark sense of humour, but it wasn't comedy.
Curse of Chucky,
Curse is great, and it's very refreshing after Seed, which I argue, like, Seed of Chucky, I think... Till Curse came out, Seed was the best directed Chucky movie,
but it was most comedic.
Yeah, and as of that, it was most people's least favourite in the series, and I kind of agree. Child's Play 3 gets knocked down quite a bit, but I think it's more because of its associations within a certain horrific event that happened around the time of its release and what it got lumped in with. But I think Seed of Chucky was the low point for the series in terms of like its tone and it winning over everybody. Curse of Chucky set the bar again because it went, this is a horror. We know the doll's alive, but we're going to make you wait for it. We're going to make you want to see him moving.
Just going to edge it.
We're going to edge it. We're going to cook it. We're going to blue balls it the entire time. But it was satisfying when he first speaks in Curse. It's amazing. It's like 55 minutes in or whatever it is, and it's the whole. It's the kid. The girl says like, "Chucky, I'm scared." Like talking to it under the duvet, and he just starts laughing. He goes, "You fucking should be." It's like, yay! There he is. But it was great. It was all horror. Like it had a dark sense of humour, but it wasn't a comedy film at all. It was wicked. I think is the way. Like the sense of humour was wicked. Cult of Chucky is keeping with the horror. It's a follow-up to Curse, and it's about Fiona Dorff's character from the last one put away in the asylum
and
because...
It's nice to see her talking in a normal voice after the little bit of seeing her...
Dirk Gently. Yeah, she's great in Dirk Gently. She's the best thing about it, I think. She's been convinced by this point by, the psychiatrists and everything that she committed the murders in Curse of Chucky. It wasn't the doll, it was all a delusion. And as part of the therapy session for her, and it sort of implies the other people she's in therapy with have also encountered him in some way. For therapy, the psychiatrist brings in a good guy doll. no shit, Sherlock, forgetting what happens next! But it looks like it's an asylum-set horror flick with Chucky trying to pick them off one by one and drive them all insane.
I like the idea of it being a stalker slasher movie in an asylum again. Well, in an isolated location again. I think the asylum angle might make it lean a bit too heavily into cliche, but I think child's movies have always kind of got away with that anyway.
Yeah, and also, I think the whole thing's a bit of a callback to the first film because you have that 15-minute sequence set in the child detention centre where Andy's detained. In the first one, and Chucky comes for him and stuff, and you get the death where he uses the electrodes to fry the doctor to death and everything.
And of course, Andy's back. So.
And Andy's back, and the subplot is Andy's found out what's going on, and he's trying to get there to stop it. Yeah. And Tiffany's on his tail because Jennifer Tilly's back in this one. There, she's in the trailer again. Just a little glimpse to go. Oh yeah, she's in this.
God, I love Jennifer Tilly. Especially in these movies.
Are you alright there, Matt?
Yeah, just having a moment. I'm thinking about Bound again.
That was the Wachowskis' first film, wasn't it?
Might have been, yeah.
They made Bound to prove that they could direct a movie, and that's when Warner's went, alright, fine, we'll let you make this film about cyberspace and people in long coats that you want to make.
Do you think they included the lesbian scene as sort of bribery?
I don't know.
Sexual bribery.
I'm not sure.
Look at this really hot thing.
Which gets referenced in Seed of Chucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, I'm a bad person. I really am.
So, Cult of Chucky, trailer's a bit choppy, no pun intended, but I'm still excited for the film. It'll be coming to Blu-ray, DVD, and streaming services in October. He got it. And yeah, we'll talk about that during the time. Now, coming out today, if you're listening to this on release, or last week if you're a bit late.
SoundCloud release, it's out tomorrow.
SoundCloud and iTunes, it's out tomorrow, unless you've gone to see an early screening.
YouTube version, it's out today.
It's out today, unless you've seen an early screening. If you're listening to this beyond Friday,
then it's out.
Yeah, then what are you doing here? Go.
I've heard some really good early buzz about it.
There's been some nice early stuff.
And also, we've seen all the trailers, so we've actually already seen the movie, just not in the right
way. According to one of the reviews I read, the trailers haven't given everything away. There's a lot still to be surprised by in the movie.
Off, they haven't given everything away.
But we'll know by this time next week.
There's at least 90 minutes worth of trailers, so it's pretty much all in there, let's face it.
Spider-Man Homecoming! The 6th Spider-Man movie to get a theatrical release.
The 6th Spider-Man movie.
The 3rd live-action iteration.
The first of the 3rd franchise.
Yeah, oh God. But what a franchise. And we're going to talk about it this week.
By Grabthar's Hammer, what a savings.
Oh God. This segue shall be avenged.
That Blu-ray set's amazing.
Oh God. So...
even if it has got Spider-Man 3 in it.
Next week we're going to talk about The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and give our thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming, because we'll have seen it by next week's recording. And
or will we?
Yes, we will. Yeah, we will. We definitely will. Yeah. So we'll talk about
will
it
we?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes, we will.
Will we have those?
You've got a Limitless card. I love how you say you hate IMAX, but you've randomly picked up a pair of IMAX glasses from the back of this table
just
and you
there.
put
I
them
just
on.
needed something to fidget with.
Ooh, well, I'm glad it's up there this time.
You know me, Chris. I'm a fidgeter.
Now, this...
I need to get a fidget cube.
Oh, God. Fidget spinner, that's what the kids are
I
into.
hate fidget spinners.
What about a web spinner?
Can't do anything with them.
Because this... Web spinners, yeah, you can.
No, fidget spinners.
Yeah, you can. You can slice very mushy fruit.
Listen,
You can put a dent in some jelly.
I'll have you know I have the firmest fruit.
Oh, baby.
Just the firmest.
Well, take a bite of this peach, sir. How do you like them apples? Because this week, we're going to talk about...
peach for hours.
Oh, I just like to stick my thumb in a peach and leave it there. We're going to talk about the first cinematic iteration of Spider-Man, and arguably up to this moment, the best cinematic iteration of Spider-Man.
Italian Spider-Man.
No. The Nick Hammond TV
Turkish
movie.
Spider-Man.
Turkish Spider-Man. Oh, Japanese Spider-Man. This big old mech. Now, we're going to talk about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, here's a tiny bit of backstory before we'll start with number one, obviously. But here's a tiny bit of backstory before that. Spider-Man's movie rights were up in the air for a while. I think Sony acquired them in the early 90s for definite.
That would make sure.
Because
make sense,
James Cameron was going to make one.
Oh, old Jimbo.
Now, we won't talk about it here, because it'd be worth one time doing an episode maybe on films that never were.
Better people, by which I mean people with more popular channels, have talked about the James Cameron Spider-Man movie at great length.
Yeah, I think the best one for you to watch, really, that sticks to the plot stuff and doesn't dwell too much on the creepier aspects, go and watch the Comic Pop back issues episode on the James Cameron Spider-Man script, and tell them we said hi. Great channel, and they do a really good coverage on it. They focus briefly on the creepier stuff, but they don't do what everyone else does, where they just focus on the creepy moments.
There is creepy moments.
They talk about the plot and the whole plot, and nothing but the plot. But James Cameron's Spider-Man was based on a script treatment written by, was it him and the guy who wrote T2? And it's fucking awful. Like, it sounds dreadful.
It sounds really bad, and like something written by someone who not only has no reverence for Spider-Man, but no actual idea what Spider-Man is.
Yeah, he uses characters like villains, but he doesn't use their names or backstories. He's obviously just gone, oh, I remember there being a guy with electric powers. Yeah, alright, our villain's called, like, Mr. Man, and he's the electric guy now. Oh, do you mean Electro? No, Mr. Man, it's fine.
He's the electric guy.
Oh, right, okay, that's kind of his...
In that respect, it sounds a lot like Spider-Man the musical.
Oh, what,
Turn Off the Dark.
Turn Off the Dark, yeah.
Turn Off the Dark.
Turn Off the Dark, which adapts the plot, funnily enough, in both versions of the 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, and then goes off on its own bastard tangents and fucks with it. But yeah, so Spider-Man nearly had a movie in the early 90s. There is a script out there if you want to read it. Go watch the Comic Pop video for a summary of what the hell it's about.
It's fucking terrible.
Because it wasn't a script, it was a treatment. Which is normally like maybe 10 pages with some script dialogue. But James Cameron just like kept writing everything, yeah. It's dreadful. Spidey was bandied around again in the late 90s, but with no solid project attached to it. Then Blade did really well, then X-Men did really well.
Yeah, remember Blade did well first?
Yeah. Reference to the future. And then Spidey came next after X-Men, wasn't it? So X-Men was 2000.
X-Men was 2000.
And Spidey was
Blade
2002.
was 98, X-Men was 2000, Spidey was 2002.
Yeah.
But it was filming in early 2001, and marketing was out there by late 2001.
The teaser trailer in late 2001 was a thing of beauty. So the first we heard it was in production, and I remember reading about it in early 2002 in a UK issue of Astonishing Spider-Man, where they did like a write-up in the middle. They did a really rare thing that they never did, where they had 4 pages in the middle that were just about the Spider-man movie that was coming out later.
I had the same thing a couple of years earlier, because I had Essential X-Men.
Nice.
And that had stuff on the original X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Back when the first casting was announced and Dougray Scott was playing Wolverine.
Yeah, oh god. Who was the second choice?
Yes.
Because Russell Crowe was the first. Dougray Scott was the second and was cast. Then it didn't work out for whatever reason.
Imagine.
And then they went back to Russell Crowe and he said, no, I'm doing something else, but you should talk to this Hugh Jackman guy. He recommended him.
Hugh Jackman,
which is hilarious when you watch it now and you watch him shirtless running down the corridors and then look at his figure like in sort of X-Men Origins Wolverine onwards. It's
so
like
much more.
So in the continuity of the films,
where has all your water gone, Hugh?
In the continuity of the films, Wolverine
bodies are supposed to retain a certain amount of water.
Oh, have you not heard him talk about that and stuff? Before he knows he's going to do a shirtless scene, for about a day and a half before that, he drinks. It's 2 days before he knows he's going to do a topless filming.
Yeah.
He drinks a shit ton of water, and then exactly a day and a half before the shoot will begin, he stops drinking water and he doesn't drink any. And that's it. He'll drink some liquids, but he won't drink water.
Drink his own.
Because obviously then the muscles, they're not retaining any of it, so they just shrink around his muscles.
He'll drink his own syrupy piss.
I just put it right in my mouth.
Yeah, I bet you did.
So Spider-Man came out, and there was that beautiful teaser trailer in 2001, which, understandably was taken out of circulation and was never included on any of the DVDs. I think now if they did a special edition release of that film...
It's out there.
It's on YouTube and stuff, but I think now if they did a special edition release, they'd put it on, because enough time has passed. It's not on any of the DVD releases at all, because I never saw it for years. I'd heard about it, I never saw it.
No.
And then eventually I saw it on YouTube 5 or 6 years ago, I think. It's beautiful. It's... basically, it's a robbery in progress, and the guys are getting away in a helicopter off a roof, and it's a full shot sequence. And they get in, it's a group of guys, and they've got the bags full of cash and everything, and they get in the helicopter and they're flying, and then suddenly the helicopter stops dead in dead air, and they don't know what to do. And they're like, "What the hell?" And they're sort of like, "We're not moving. It's we're not falling." They're really freaking out. And the camera pulls out to reveal the helicopter's in a web, and it keeps pulling out to reveal that web is slap bang between the Twin Towers.
Yeah,
and it's this beautiful visual. Because I think then there's a couple little montage shots of web hand from the film, you sort of web coming out of the hand, quick shot of the eye, shot of him swinging that just says Spider-Man coming soon, and it's oh my god, that looks amazing! We're finally getting a Spider-Man movie 40 years after he was created. It's incredible because it was just 40 years after, wasn't it? 1962 was his debut.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's freaking amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Great trailer. Understandably dropped out of circulation a couple of months later because of the September 11th attacks. But it was a beautiful trailer because it said so much about what the film was going to be like. It was this is a movie about New York and a person who comes from New York and the city of New York as a character in the movie. And that character part expanded as filming continued in the wake of the September 11 attacks. New York became more of a character with a voice in the finished product. Most notably in the scene on the bridge toward the end, which wasn't written that way till after September 11th. Sam Raimi was I think, because New York had been in such a downward spiral since it had happened, understandably. So it was a massive tragedy. But that sort of spirit of togetherness and support was always there and grew stronger as the earlier months of 2002 came about. So that scene was a reflection of that. It was them going, you cannot put us down. We're not defeated.
You cannot put down New York.
Yeah, and
you
mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And it's that's why that's in there.
Let's throw pipes at him. Where are we getting these fucking pipes from?
Oh yeah, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Here on this bridge is falling apart.
This bridge is full of pipes.
Oh God, no!
Pipes and bricks.
Welcome to the pipe bridge, kids. Spider-Man. What are your first memories of Spider-Man 2002, good sir, kind sir?
Pretty fucking good, don't it?
I never saw it in the cinema.
I saw it in the cinema.
I saw it.
It's pretty fucking good.
I saw it on Naughty Video.
You saw Triple X.
Yeah, brown paperback copy.
This ain't Spider-Man Triple X porn parody.
Spider-Man up in this hoe. Watch me crank that. Watch me roll.
What was the upside down kiss like?
Oh God.
Messy?
I was going to say he dangles, and then he dangles a bit further down, but I think they did that in Superhero Movie, and I don't want to say that I came up with the same joke as that film.
I've never seen
Superhero. It's a remake of Spider-Man, but with different gags and stupid. It's bullshit. The only funny thing in the whole film is Uncle Ben, or the equivalent of Uncle Ben, is played by Leslie Nielsen, and he doesn't die because he carries on throughout the movie because it's Leslie Nielsen. But yeah, so. My first memory of it was watching it on a VHS with Chinese subtitles on the right side of the screen.
Love it.
I eventually, when the video came out in November 2002, we got it on video finally, properly.
Yeah.
But then it came out on DVD as well, and I got the DVD for Christmas. It was one of my first DVDs that was mine.
I had it on DVD.
A beautiful, freaking beautiful red box.
It's a sexy thing.
And the big old, the pre-2003 12 logo in the corner that made it look so grown up. It looked so grown up because it had that scary looking little 12 logo that was all sharp black and freaking weird. It was so strange. And then they all got soft and squishy in 2003 and they've been like, that never changed. But, yeah, Spider-Man. Oh, God. So you saw it in the cinema?
Yeah.
You saw it in the theatre? What was the atmosphere like? Did you see it like opening weekend? Or?
Honestly, I can't remember.
Yay! Did it have Chinese subtitles?
Old. It was 15 years ago.
You're older than time.
I am older than time. But what? So why do I age? Yeah.
You're aging backwards.
Can I remember seeing it in the cinema? Fuck no! I remember watching it a lot on DVD. And really liking it. And that soundtrack, and Tobey Maguire being great, and Kirsten Dunst being...
She's pretty good in the first one.
Kirsten Dunst.
She's pretty good in the first one.
Lots of down blouse shots in that.
There's a lot of rain. There's a lot of nip.
A lot of braless Kirsten Dunst.
Many a
which,
nip.
You know, as a teenager was pretty cool. Lot of,
I like how you reversed then, like your voice broke in reverse. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As a teenager, that's what I like to see. Son! That's what I like to see, son!
Spider-Man.
Gotta watch those puns, son.
Spider-Man is... Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Are you sure you want to know? My story is not for the faint of heart.
I'm not massively keen on those first couple of lines.
I don't mind it, and I'll tell you why. I see it as...
Tell me for how,
I see it as the inner monologue boxes.
Yeah.
The film opens and closes. In fact, all three of them open and close with his inner monologue. And I know the lines themselves are a bit like, why is he being this deep? Like, what's going on?
It's no Blade Runner. It's not fucking dire, but like, it's just a bit...
Webs in the rain. But it's, you know, it's...
That's great. That's a great one.
Thank you. I wrote it myself just now.
So, the thing with all the Raimi movies...
Yeah.
Three to a lesser extent because of studio intervention, but all the Raimi movies are distillations of everything that's great about 60s and early 70s Spider-Man.
Yes, because that's his era. That was the era Sam Raimi religiously read these books.
It's what he loved, and so he took that, and took everything he loved about it, and he bundled it up and he put it on screen. Until we got the MCU stuff, it was basically the most faithful adaptation of comics.
And specifically of Peter Parker as well.
Yeah.
Like, this is Peter Parker.
The colours of it, the tone of it, like, it's just a beautiful thing, and it's fun, and it's funny, and
that's why it worked in the early 2000s as well, because yes, it was the 60s sensibility, but that was drawing on the core of what people like about the character, even if they don't realise it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the same way people go, "Oh, Superman's kind of dumb," and then you show them the 70s flick, and even if they're like, "Oh, it's still kind of stupid," you'll find they'll go, "Oh, I mean, he was pretty cool." Do you know what I mean? Because there's something about those takes on it that appeals to what you fell in love with when you first found these characters and these stories. Let's just start with talking about Sam Raimi. I wasn't old enough to like hear the buzz about this. I also wasn't old enough to know who Sam Raimi was when the first movie came out.
I had seen Darkman, but I hadn't connected the dots.
Because you have Liam Neeson yelling at a fairground.
I'd seen Darkman, and I was vaguely aware of Evil Dead, although I hadn't seen it at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I knew the name Evil Dead at the age of, because I remember it being mentioned in the magazine article in Astonishing Spider-Man. I was like, I know what that is, but I've never seen it because obviously I was like 11.
I was a regular reader of like SFX and things like that. So
there you go.
I hadn't seen a lot of those because I didn't buy a lot of.
The first SFX I ever bought, James Masters on the cover, and he was covering the bottom of the F. And the attendant at Morrison's refused to sell it to me because he was sort of like open shirted on the cover, and she thought it was a sex magazine. She refused to sell it to me because I was like 13. I was like, no, it's SFX. I was opening the contents page to show her SFX, the logo, and she was like, no, put it back, and she told me to leave the store.
You should have got Starburst instead.
Spunk burst, probably, like someone's head just over the. Oh god! But yeah, so you were aware of Raimi's work, even if you hadn't seen it at that point.
Raimi's work, I hadn't. I was like, horror dude, Spider-Man.
But apparently, the majority of the reaction within like the comic book fan bases was, "Oh, that's awesome!" Because Sam Raimi was very much known as a guy who loved film. loved wacky shit, loved like dark shit. His violence is very like you feel punches connect in his movies. You feel freaking chainsaws going through arms in his movies.
Evil Dead 2 is slapstick.
Oh yeah, it's the Three Stooges meets The Exorcist.
Yeah,
like it's terrifying and it's hilarious.
Pies for lots and lots of blood. And that's Evil Dead 2.
One of my favourite slapstick sequences in any movie is Bruce Campbell fighting his possessed hand.
Oh, so good. So good.
Because he plays it like a clown. It's amazing. And also, like, Ash has gone doolally at that point. He's been driven insane by, like, the 2 days he spent alone in the cabin since the first one. And he's gone absolutely batshit nuts. So he's not taking it seriously beyond, like, little moments of panic. Right to the point where he decides to defeat his possessed hand by cutting it off. Because, of course, that's how you defeat it. And he doesn't even... there's no, like, sign of him being in pain or terror that he's doing it. Because he's just like, who's laughing now? Like, this Sam Raimi's a filmmaker who, liked to have fun with whatever genre he did. So, apparently the fan reaction when Spider-Man was announced and he was announced was like, oh, wow, really? Wait, they're giving Sam Raimi big blockbuster money? What's going on? Okay, let's see. Rewatching the first two over the last couple of days, I've noticed that, my God, yeah, there is a lot of Evil Dead in the first two movies. It's tucked away in there.
There's some creepy moments.
Osborn's almost completely dead-eyed white eyes when he first comes back up from the formula and grabs Strom and says our favourite accidental catchphrase in the podcast.
Back to formula!
Just chucks him out of the thing. Like, but the fact that the seriousness of that scene where, like, he's going to do a human trial on himself, and yet they take a second for when the metal strap's put over him for him to just go, oh, it's cold. Like, they just take little moments like that to make you go, it would be, wouldn't it? Like, because normally they wouldn't do that. Normally any other person making a blockbuster wouldn't do that moment. They'd be like, no, drama, it's got to be scary. And it's like, no, it's fucking cold. He's going to say it's cold.
I love the moment where the gas starts to come into the chamber and he looks down and his face just drops.
Because he's like, what am I doing? Yeah.
That's a wonderful moment.
God, the moment just before his death, there's an entire YouTube video about the edit of that moment where the glider's about to hit him, and they just take that one cut of him going, oh, and then it hits him.
Yeah.
And it hits him twice. Like, that shot happens twice, once from the front, once from the blade going through the brick, in quick succession, to double the impact of, he's just been stabbed through the gut. Like, he's dead.
Double impact, like with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Bloody hell, I knew you were going to say that, you swine. So, Sam Raimi's on board. This movie is kooky, but it's also very sweet. And it's, I would argue, sort of like the latter half of Superman the movie. It's a romance movie. It's a movie about romance and about love.
And it kind of feels like...
Specifically, stupid teenage love.
It kind of feels like a Superman for the 2000s.
Yes!
It's got like that old school sensibilities. It's got a very strong moral compass.
Yeah.
A very righteous hero. Even if he is a little bit confused about his place in the world. And he has a bit more darkness to him with the guilt he feels over the death of Uncle Ben.
And again, let's touch on that quickly. Cliff Robertson and Rosemary Harris.
Very good.
Perfect casting for Ben and May.
But not modern Ben and May. 60s and 70s Ben and May.
Yeah.
Like
just the old, proper
elderly Aunt May, not the younger Aunt May that we're more used. Even in the 616, she's sort of skewed to be
a bit younger and a bit hipper,
a bit hipper, whereas
like she's currently sort of written and illustrated to be more closer to maybe like her late 60s.
Yeah.
So she's getting on, but she's not stopped yet. Like, she's still doing lots of stuff.
In the original 60s comic, she's just fucking ancient.
She's drawn like a fucking matchstick with a chin. She looks like if she fell over, she would light on fire and combust in 2 seconds and then just be gone.
She's like Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her.
Yeah! Oh, God, that's true. She's an old crone, but a lovable character. But sort of that was part of the setup of that story back then. Was like, do you need some water, Cockle?
No, I'm good. I just need a second to gather myself.
Go on then, gather it loud. Oh, you just spat out a Rosemary Harris.
Oh, I wonder where that's been.
She's wonderful in this role, and she continues to be wonderful throughout all three of the movies. And Cliff Robertson as well throughout all three of the movies. What? Yeah, because obviously he appears in sort of dream sequences and flashbacks in the second and third. And it's a nice little nod. Because in the comics, there's moments where he sort of reflects and he's sort of talking to Uncle Ben in his head sometimes and things like that. So it's nice that they did stuff like that. And I think it's also because Raimi was like, Cliff Robertson's amazing. I don't just want him to have been in the first 30 minutes of the first movie.
Great face.
Cliff Robertson's
really
great.
Good face.
He's one of those actors who I want to go back and see more of his filmography in general. Because he's just brilliant. He's in a lot of 50s television. He's in one of my favourite episodes of The Twilight Zone. He's the ventriloquist of the episode The Dummy.
Oh!
He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. I want to see...
to watch them all, Twilight Zone.
Oh, mate, we'll have to have it. We'll...
I'm way more familiar with, like, The Outer Limits from the 90s than I am with Twilight
Oh, you'll
Zone.
love Twilight Zone, then, because the skeleton of all those shows that came about
yeah,
is
no,
definitely there.
yeah, that's where it is. Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's just a masterclass in, like, 25-minute drama. It's so good.
But Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's butt. They take a shortcut in this.
Tight in a tight little...
Dresses like a spider, acts like a bug. We should all just give him one big hug. Look out! Woo! Here goes the Spider-Man. Which, that song appears in... I can't remember if it appears in number 3, but it definitely appears in 1 and 2. The 60s theme appears in 1 and 2. In number 1, it's that during the montage. That guy sings in a bastardised version. Then in number 2, the lady on the violin just starts plucking the violin and singing it really shrilly.
But also,
and it's Tobey Maguire's... We'll have an entire chat about Tobey Maguire's facial expressions.
On the soundtrack for the first one, there's an Aerosmith version of the 60s.
Oh, I loved it.
Let's talk about the Spider-Man soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack.
Let's talk about...
It's got the first appearance of Corey Taylor's...
Kroger's...
Well, we'll get to that. It's got the first appearance of Corey Taylor's Breathe, which since has been attributed to... Bother, which has since been attributed to Slipknot, Stone Sour, and other people. But it's like, no, Corey Taylor did it first as Corey Taylor for the Spider-Man soundtrack in 2002.
It's a pretty good fucking song.
It's a great song, and it's a great soundtrack. And I'm going to do it. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to defend Hero.
Fucking hell, mate.
It's a good song. It's not a great song.
It's a fucking dirge. But
well,
we did get Bring Me to Life out of it, because Bring Me to Life would have been on the Daredevil soundtrack.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But also, on the soundtrack, Hero's on the soundtrack. It was the single for the film.
Yeah.
And it's on the soundtrack. But you know what isn't on the soundtrack? The only song that features in the film, Macy Gray's Nutty Nutmeg Fantasy.
Isn't it?
It's not on the soundtrack. It should be.
I'm sure it is.
Let's pull it up. I'm sure it isn't, because I remember being sort of annoyed that it wasn't there to listen to.
I'm sure
I'm bringing it up now. It's on my iTunes, because I own the soundtrack to 1 and 2, because at the time I got it because I'm a Spider-Man fan and I just wanted to have it. And now I'm so glad I did, because the music for those 2 films pretty great.
Well, it's Danny Elfman, isn't it, mate?
Well, yeah. Also, even on the album, like the soundtrack album, the OST, they include on both of them 2 bits of the score as tracks as well. Because, I mean, come on, that theme... Danny Elfman, in terms of superhero themes, at this point, had given us Batman.
Yeah.
That triumphant march that is still the best music for Batman ever. Hands down.
I wouldn't call it triumphant.
I
think it's got a dark edge to it.
You've got a dark edge to it. Son!
My tan just went wrong. Spray tan line is just a bit, just a bit off.
You can't say that. You can say that. Especially
under the eyes. I just don't sleep enough.
Are you having a moment?
Yeah, I think so.
I like it. Never stop. So I'm trying to find compilations. They've just bloody... Oh, it'll be under artists, won't it?
Just search Spider-Man.
Search your Spider-Man in a minute. So yeah, I don't think it is. Because it's a fun moment. It's the one moment that really dates the movie.
Remember when Macy Gray was
Macy Gray!
I'm sure it's on there.
Oh, it is!
My superior knowledge of the Spider-Man soundtrack from 2002 wins out over yours, you rube.
Why did I not think it was on there? I know I didn't think it was on there.
Because you're an idiot.
No, because in my head I was like, one of the songs from the movie isn't on there. No, I'm thinking of number 2. But Raindrops isn't on the soundtrack for number 2. Raindrops keep falling on my head, even though it's the one moment in that second movie where it has, like, a song playing.
What?
Although it also plays at one point Ordinary by Train. No, not Ordinary by Train. Shit. What is it that he plays in the second movie? Oh my god. Oh god. For you to hold on to... I can't remember what that song is now. Point is it Taking Back Sunday? I don't know. The point is, at some point in the first Spider-Man movie, this shit plays. Come on, Macy Gray. Come on.
Yeah, we've got to talk over it though.
Believe in love and it will come down. Yeah, go out there and buy the Spider-Man official soundtrack on Amazon or somewhere.
It's pretty good. Just skip over here.
It's pretty sweet. There we go. There's a trailer. So it's a great soundtrack. It's a great score. I mean, if we spend too long, we'll talk about these till the cows come out. I want to make sure we talk about all three. So let's pick some highlights. The casting of Tobey Maguire is inspired.
I think Tobey Maguire is really good in these two.
Because a lot of
in
people
these two movies.
No, I would argue he's just as good in the third.
But he has some weird shit to do.
The problem is the 60s mentality Spider-Man doesn't work with what the studio made them do in the third one. Yeah. Because what should have been a trip down a darker path for Peter Parker instead was a trip down a nerd's version of a darker path for Peter Parker.
It was so bad, but we'll get to that.
But Maguire goes for it. Maguire's going for it.
I don't think you can never really fault Tobey Maguire on going for it.
People go, oh, the Spider-Man cries all the time. Yes, of course he does. He's a dorky little kid. He's a dorky kid who dresses up in pyjamas.
His uncle/adoptive father has just died.
He's been yelled at by Bruce Campbell, the ring announcer, for having a dumb name.
Bonesaw was ready.
Bonesaw was ready.
Bonesaw was ready.
He had him for 3 minutes. All right, 3 minutes of playtime. Bonesaw's a great addition. Bonesaw McGraw is
the
Macho Man
late
Randy
great
Savage.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Playing Bonesaw McGraw, a replacement for Crusher Hogan. But I believe Bonesaw was brought into another iteration at some point. I think one of the other origins uses Bonesaw McGraw instead of Crusher Hogan because obviously people.
It's either Ultimate or
Ultimate was before, so I think Ultimate was Crusher Hogan still.
Yeah, but I think they might have taken Bonesaw from because he takes some cues from Ultimate, even though it's very was just coming out at the time this was starting filming.
Yeah,
like the genetically altered spider.
Yeah, Super Spider.
Well, that was a Ultimate Spider-Man thing.
Yeah,
no radiation for this.
Yeah, that's true. It's genetically altered super spiders. The one fault of the movies, I suppose, is they never go back to explain that, but you don't miss it, so it doesn't really matter.
They never go back to explain it, and it doesn't. I don't think it really
It doesn't really matter. There's no secret origin. There's no fucking coins that open hidden train labs. Next week, we'll get to that next week.
You don't like. Yeah, spider bites him. Something's weird about. It's a funky spider. Funky spider bites him.
Hey, he had a bite.
Funky powers.
It's okay. He had a bite. Is there any change? Yeah, it's a good change.
I'm buff now.
He's buffing. He wakes up buffing.
And they give him organic web shooters.
Yeah, as a bit of a shortcut. Raimi said that was literally just a shortcut to the powers and exploring the powers.
And that's fine.
Which makes sense. Because again, I think in Amazing Fantasy 15, the original comic, he does make them as part of his wrestling gimmick. So he's got them when he's a wrestler.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? He wouldn't.
It's just part of his gimmick, isn't it?
Yeah, so... other iterations have had it so that he does that after, when he finally decides he's going to be a crime fighter, he creates them based on stuff. Ultimate Spider-Man did it as well, it was based on stuff his dad had been working on.
One of the
and
things
he just
I like
carries
about
on with it.
Amazing Spider-Man, the movie, is that he makes them.
Although he nicks them from Oscorp.
He nicks the material.
Yes, how does he learn how to make it? Or does he just keep popping back periodically and nicking it? Is he like, Gwen, could you just pocket some of that shit for me?
He doesn't steal it, he orders it. And then
is it like Gwen? Is it like their equivalent of nicking office supplies? Like Gwen Stacy just nicks little silver cartridges.
Put a pin in this discussion.
Okay.
We'll get to it when we get to Amazing.
Okay.
Alright?
Tobey Maguire is great. He's a believable dork. He's absolutely lovable. He doesn't quip enough in the suit, but that's the script. That's not Tobey Maguire.
And also,
but the suit looks good, man.
60 Spider-Man isn't as quippy as you remember.
Yeah. Well, he's joking stuff, but usually at the moments of there you go.
Yeah.
I've defeated the villain now. Here's my quip at them to rub it in their faces and everything. It's mostly internal thoughts.
Yeah, he's a smart ass, but he's not like the modern day version of Peter Parker, where he's a yammering smart ass who does it to distract you.
Yeah.
But he does smart off, but he's not constantly talking.
Mary Jane is sort of an amalgam of, I guess, a couple of characters. Like, she's a bit... Because Mary Jane in the comic books is in their high school. She comes to their high school late in their high school time, doesn't she? She's a late edition.
No, I don't.
Because Anna's... she's transferring to New York. No, she's moving in with her Aunt Anna, isn't
college,
she?
I don't think.
No, it's pre-college. It's pre-college because she's moving in with her Aunt Anna.
Yeah, but he doesn't...
Oh, does she come there for college?
She doesn't appear until... Because she doesn't appear... Because John Romita Sr. designed her.
Yes, he did. Good
and
point.
he wasn't drawing that book until Peter was in college.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because the reason I'm getting confused is because she makes friends with everybody. I was like... Because she transfers to... She lives with her aunt... That's another thing the Raimi movies never do. Aunt Anna isn't in the Raimi movies at all.
No.
It focuses... Well, it does Ultimate, then. That's where it draws from Ultimate as well, because Mary Jane lives at home with her mum and dad.
Her abusive dad.
Her abusive dad. Although in the comics, I think they make that a little more loose. It's a little more like... He's a dick, but she avoids him on purpose because of that. And I think eventually if I remember, I'm going to have to reread those comics. Oh, what a shame. I'm going to have to reread my favourite comic book series of all time.
Oh, no!
I think he gets, like, kicked out of the house or something by the mum at one point.
It's been so long since I've read Ultimate, I have no idea.
But, like, so in the comics, she moves in with her Aunt Anna, and she's now next door. She's the girl next door in the literal sense, and she's an absolute bombshell, and it's like, oh my god, this girl's amazing. And it's like,
bombshell!
We've been set up on a date, and I'd been in that 60s sort of way, terrified that she was going to be a minger. And then it's oh no, she's amazing. And then they have like one date or whatever, and it's kind of awkward and hilarious. And it's like, oh, well, I think we should... No, I don't think this is for us. But we should be friends. I don't know. I think he was parted from Gwen at that point, because Anna and May were setting them up on a date.
Well, Gwen was still alive.
Gwen was still around, absolutely. Because I think he was with Gwen, then they did break up, and then they got back together, if I remember correctly. Because MJ's like, look, I'm going to get you back with Gwen. Like, you two are perfect together. You should be together. And because she tries to double date with Harry.
And then Gwen decided she needed another break.
Oh, that's...
Oh!
Too soon. 45 years too soon.
Oh!
Well, 40-ish years.
Oh, put me out, I'm on fire.
Baby cakes. So yeah, like, MJ in this is sort of an amalgam of, like, she's a bit of Gwen Stacy, she's a bit of Liz Allen, she's basically,
she's less of a, like...
She's straight up girl next door.
Yeah, she's less of a bombshell and more of a girl next door type.
Yeah. They try and take her into her acting modelling roots in the sequels, and it's of varying degrees of success.
Well, she's never really a supermodel.
Like
she is in the
comics. She's like a sort of like perfume model kind of thing and stuff.
She's an actress first,
but still in a way that by the time you get to number 2, you're like, yeah, Peter, you're out of your depth. You need to start actually paying attention and being there for her, because it's getting to the point where she's going to meet, I don't know, like, God, she could be dating an astronaut if she wanted to.
Either that or just there's the cute girl next door who clearly has a thing for you.
Yeah,
so just deal with that.
Oh, his face, one of my favourite moments of the whole bloody film, is when his spider sense like first goes off and he catches her when she slips in the canteen.
Oh god!
And he gets the tray and he catches all the falling food, and she goes like, "Wow, like great reflexes, thanks." And he sort of like straightens her up, and they both stand up. She goes like, "Oh, you have like blue eyes. I never really could tell, without your glasses. Did you get contacts?" And he just sort of looks at her with this dopey grin, like, his inner thoughts are just like, "She's talking to me." And she just looks at him, but she doesn't go like, ugh, weirdo. She's just like, okay, well, thanks, bye. And she takes a lunch and walks off. And he just gets this look, he sits back down, he's got this look on his face of like, oh, God, like, that was it. That was the way in for a conversation.
He does so much in these movies without saying anything.
His facial expressions are wonderful, and people will go, yeah, like when he's holding the train or he's weeping over Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
so good,
how would your face look if you were holding a fucking train?
So good, like, because
my God.
The great thing about Tobey Maguire in these movies is he's not afraid to look ugly on screen.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well, like, Spidey isn't like, your square-jawed, handsome, like, I'm Spider-Man. He's a dorky little
dude,
kid.
Like,
he's handsome. I'm not denying that he's a good-looking guy, but he's not like Hollywood handsome. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
He's not like, he thinks he's a terrible, unlovable nerd. Yeah. He's actually pretty handsome.
Yeah.
It's himself that kind of makes him unavailable.
I mean, his idea of looking kind of suave in the second in the raindrops montage, like him skipping along, he just looks hilarious.
Yeah.
But he thinks he's like, that's him going, yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm looking sharp. And it's like, you just look so adorably stupid.
Just look like
brilliant. The wrestling sequence is great, although it's got a joke that really hasn't aged well. Like, that's a nice outfit. Did your husband give it to you? It's like, well, what you're doing there is you play... Like, okay, you could look at it this way, that he's playing off the homophobia of Bonesaw McGraw.
It's just...
But it's like,
just
Spidey,
joke.
really?
Like,
Yeah.
it's an age joke.
Yeah, it's like in the mid-2000s, people would be like, oh, that is so gay. And no one would say anything about it being like a derogatory thing at all. No one would question it. And
people would.
Now when people say that,
now
when you say that, you're like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you going to really say that? So that's great. Bruce Campbell is the ring announcer who gives him his name, which is brilliant.
And it's a human spider. That sucks.
James Franco's pretty great in this movie.
James Franco.
And in the second movie. And in the third movie, actually. He's very watchable in all three of them.
So good.
So good. These movies have spawned a million GIFs. There are so many GIFs.
There are so many
movies.
great facial expressions across all of these films.
Now, before we move into the second film and a specific character who follows through as well throughout all of them, let's talk about the first movie's villain. The biggest crime this movie makes is casting Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin and then covering his scary-ass face up. Because Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn is a great choice.
Oh, man.
He's great as Osborn. He's believably detached from his son. There's references, I think, to... No, there's no references in the movie to Mrs. Osborn.
Yeah, there is.
Is there somewhere?
Yeah. Like, because when he's having a go at
Harry
for Mary Jane, he's like, they're all so beautiful. They're all the same. Your mother was like that.
Get what you want from her, then broom her fast.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh god. Yeah, so there's reference to
his mum's
Now, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe, again, they took their cues from Ultimate in the novelization, which I own somewhere, so I'm going to have to dig it out and find out. They take their cues in the novelization, and at least in the original draft of the script.
Yeah.
When he first goblins out, he comes back to the home and apparently kills her. Now, I imagine they trimmed that for time.
Yeah.
Because it's an extra subplot.
It's a big thing to fucking trim for time, though.
Well, they never shot it. Is what I'm saying. Like they removed it, but I'm sure it remained in the novelization,
which makes that line a lot darker, then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because it means his recently deceased mother
was a gold digger.
Yeah, but then again, in that moment, he is being he's goblin.
Yeah,
he's goblin in a dinner suit at that moment.
Terrible table manners.
Because in the Ultimate Comics, that's what happens when he first transforms. He goes back home, and the first thing he does is burn down the home.
Because he's got fire powers.
Yeah, I like the Ultimate version.
I
do prefer Evil Businessman, but some storytellers do some great stuff with him. Some fuck it up royally.
I just like him on his rocket broom with his satchel,
with his bag of tricks.
Yeah, before he has the glider in the comics. He's
got the broom. He's got freaking broom.
So good.
I think it was a smart decision to go like, right, so in this universe, Oscorp aren't the ones who made the spiders, so that inspiration's changed from Ultimate. In this one, Oscorp are making military tech, and the thing they're working on currently is a flight suit and a glider for combat.
And performance enhancers.
Performance-enhancing drugs and everything, and... there's I can't remember the name of the other company, but the other company...
Quest Aerospace.
Quest Aerospace, that's it. They're developing like a flight and missile suit as well.
Which looks clunky as fuck.
It looks hilarious.
But the general really doesn't like Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
so
he's got beef against Osborn.
Your products are clearly superior, but I don't like you, so I'm going to give the contract to this inferior product.
Yeah, and then the horrible accident happens at Quest Aerospace.
Oh yes, the quote-unquote horrible accident.
Scare quotes. So Oscorp's shares and stock and everything go up.
Yeah.
And then his board of directors go, yeah, well, because of what's happened at Quest Aerospace, they're planning a merger / takeover. So they're proposing to buy Oscorp, and we're going to say yes. So you're out. Like,
out am I?
Oh, God. So Osborn goes nuts on the chemical. He kills Strom, who is a character from the comics as well. Well, that's the thing. Strom's a character from the 90s comic book, so I think that was somebody on the script treatment going, we may as well make him a character from the comics.
Character name where you can.
Strom's the guy who does stuff, like helps set up Norman's dirty deeds toward the end of the Clone Saga. Yeah. And he's an employee for him and stuff, but he's also been given like powers, if I remember correctly. He has like beams that he shoots out of his hands and stuff at that point. He's the one who I think helped with the carrying off of the plan to take away their baby and things like that.
Oh,
So
no one ever came back to ever again.
No, of course not. Well, you don't have to Brand New Day, I suppose, do you? It's
Then Howard Mackie came along and was like, I'm writing Spider-Man now, and then J. Michael Straczynski came along and saved the book from Howard Mackie.
Yeah, and then put it in a weird place toward the end.
Yeah,
and then it tried to save itself, which sort of worked, but alienated so many readers, and then eventually it settled on something good. So it was like, oh, thank God.
But we'll get to that
in
a future episode.
So yeah, Osborn and Strom, there's a bunch of little characters dotted in this as well. Peter is apparently working for Connor's lab. Because he says, like, I was late and Dr. Connors fired me. Implying that during his summer between high school and college starting, he's doing some work, as we find out in the second one, at the university.
Yeah.
Because by the second one, we're like, oh, Connors is a tutor at the university, alright, so that's what he was doing.
You're brilliant, but lazy!
Brilliant, but lazy. Eddie Brock's mentioned, and I only noticed this on my rewatch yesterday.
Eddie's mentioned.
It was Eddie Brock. It's Eddie Brock.
No.
They threw in a reference. No, because they could have mentioned Uric, they could have mentioned Leeds, they could have said any other Bugle-related name. They could have said any other. They could have said any other Bugle-related name, but Joe Robertson.
No, it was Neddy. It's just a bad edit. It's a bad dub.
Joe Robbie Robertson says in that moment, Eddie's been on it for weeks. We can barely get a picture of the guy. And what I like about that is that Sam Raimi or someone on script level going, there's your Venom reference. Now can we stick to the 60s, please?
Yes.
Little did they know. So
J.
there's
Jonah
that.
Jameson talking to Robbie Robertson, talking to Peter Parker, talking to Betty Brant.
Oh God, that entire scene.
So many alliterative names.
I can't remember what his name is, but Ted Raimi's character. It's such
a
a fun little addition.
It's not alliterative, but it's fine.
It's a fun little addition. I like his character. Just like this one reporter or one guy in the office who's basically...
I think he's like a deputy.
He's on the receiving end of Jonah's paddle every time. We will get to Jameson, don't worry. We'll talk about him in a minute. Oh God. Meat! Send you a nice Christmas basket of meat! But the Green Goblin, before we leave, so they play with it as a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah.
At first, and then it becomes apparent as the film goes on that no, that's just him now. This is him. Even though he convincingly plays away from it at the end.
Mask in the mirror, which I quite like.
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart
because he just becomes like.
He's a supervillain.
Scene-chewingly evil. Like, properly supervillain.
And the only thing holding him back from being, like, up there in the echelons of forever praised, like the top 5 comic book cinematic villains sort of thing, the thing keeping him out of that, it's like you can't see his face.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks that they did that.
Tests, weren't there?
There were, ADI worked on it in the early stages, and there's this footage of Tom Woodruff Jr. under the prosthetics, like practicing it with animatronic brow and eyes,
like a proper comic accurate Green Goblin.
Scary, but at the same time, the eyes were lenses, so they could fold up and reveal eyes underneath.
Yeah.
So I guess it was that thing of they obviously thought, well, if we're going to make it a tech suit, how do we explain his green fleshy face? Oh, fuck it. Do you know what? We're going to go full tech. And they obviously went that way. They give him a mask motif. They make it so that in the Osborn apartment, because he owns like the top 8 floors of a building. And it's basically a mansion on top of a skyscraper.
Because why not?
You've
got to build up.
Because it's a good setting, I suppose. It's an interesting set piece. But they cover it in masks. He's got tribal masks everywhere, and he's got different ones. And there are... You don't get a big shot of them, but there are a couple of more techie kind of ones. Like ones
that's right, Wendy.
More like modern...
We all wear masks.
Metaphorically speaking.
No, literally, actually wearing masks.
Oh, we do. Oh. Mask that somehow he has the back of and the neck for as well. But he goes with the goblin mask. So it sort of makes sense. Like, it's a tribal thing mixed in with technology. And they do at least have a couple scenes where he has the lenses off his eyes and the mesh from the mouth away so you can see his mouth.
And you can kind of see his face through the mouth of the mask as well.
Yeah.
It's a good looking. It's a good looking.
Imagine
mask.
what we could accomplish together.
It's a good looking.
What we could build.
Just miss his face.
Or we could destroy, cause the death of countless innocents again and again and again till we're both dead. Is that really what you want?
Stop cock-blocking me, Spider.
You and the Daredevil are a bunch of cock-blockers. Think about it, hero! I mean, he's great. Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
He's just so... He just
Raimi did it first. Simpsons did it first.
It gives up any, sort of...
Down came the goblin.
just any sort of pretense at being good, like any duality within him, and just just goes fully until the very, very end, where he's got that great "Don't Tell Harry" moment.
Yes, that is beautiful
really
because
good.
Suddenly the Norman who actually gives a shit about his son appears for a second, and it's either because he cares about what Harry thinks or because he's trying to save his own arse in his son's eyes.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the same thing as caring what he thinks. It's a more selfish motive.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's because he's like, I don't want Harry to know, like, this is what I became.
Yeah.
Or if it's more like, oh shit, no, don't tell him. Like, he'll think I'm a loser because you beat me. Like, I don't quite know where angle he's coming from.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's pure evil at that point.
Pure.
Thank God for you.
Those eyes! Yellow eyes!
Oh God. I mean, just... Let die the woman you love! Or suffer the little children.
It's so scene chewing. I fucking love it.
He's great. Just like he's so good. His suit, if we just accept the mask for what it is, pretty cool design.
Yeah.
Really nice glider.
I like some movement in the face, but I feel the mask itself is a pretty cool design.
Pumpkin bombs are great.
Yeah.
Spidey suit looks great. Let's talk about, as we transition into the second movie, the man in the suit. The man behind the desk. The man with the tash. With the hoagie.
Oh, my God.
With the stress relief pills. Let's talk about the freaking beauty that is J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Arguably...
one of the most perfect pieces of casting.
Yeah.
In cinema history.
A video I've wanted to do for a while for my YouTube channel, and I might retool it for a big damn video at some point, has been perfect comic book castings. And the ones that I noted down so far, in terms of just like absolutely spot on, I was trying to narrow it down to 5. And the only 2 that are in that 5 at the moment are Christopher Reeve as Superman and J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Because people always say the cliche is always like, it's like he's let right off the page. Yes, he has. This is J. Jonah Jameson. This is the version you remember, specifically, I think, influenced by the 60s cartoon. That's the Jameson we're dealing with.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be so long before we get round
There's a
to
reason
another
Amazing didn't attempt.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's not been announced as being in Homecoming.
It's like, how the fuck do you follow that?
Yeah. You can't. The closest you can do, the most respectful thing you can do, unless you've found an interesting way to do it, is to just not do it.
Yeah.
It's too tough an act to follow. Because Jameson is, at least to the public at large, that. And he personified it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You could do other things with Jameson. You could go with the more sort of stuff that's happened in the comics since. You could have Jameson be the mayor of New York and just make it that he's more just of a blowhard. You know, I mean, a little while ago, I was in a conversation, we were trying to fantasy stunt cast him. And I said, like, now that Amazing doesn't exist, get Dennis Leary.
I'd say Paul Giamatti. A little angry Jameson.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. He's a little more gentle to me. A little more genteel. Like Dennis Leary. Slap a tash on Dennis Leary. Let him go for it. Now that he's not being creepy ghost Captain Stacy.
Creepy ghost dad.
Ghost dad. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be an interesting one. Or you know, I think the problem is the only way you could get away with him now without making people physically sick is if he was the newspaper editor still. I think if he was a politician or somebody on the news, it wouldn't sit right with people because we're all sick of seeing massive caricatures who are dickheads in positions of power and broadcast
How
influence.
can you make this person fun to watch but terrible?
Yeah.
Because if you just make him Rupert Murdoch, then you're just going to hate him and there's not going to be any fun in watching him. He's like, that guy's just a fucking monster.
Yeah. Oh, God, he was great. He was brilliant, and it's
the fucking deleted scene from 2 where he's in the costume.
It's now we'll go into this because
rewatching
number 2. My Blu-ray offered me Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 2.1, which I'd never watched before, and it's edited back in.
Oh, it's so good! It's so good!
Because that's the thing in the movies. He's not the Jameson of the comics in his backstory. He's not. Because in the comics, you find out the reason why he really hates Spider-Man is because, like, I think his first wife was killed by someone in a mask, like a mugger or something. Way later they did it, but they made a thing of like he genuinely has a deep-seated hatred and mistrust of people in masks. It's not just that he's spinning it for a story. The movie version is the cartoony, less deep backstory version, where he is just like Spider-Man is his papers like punching bag mascot.
Yeah.
And it's to sell papers.
Spider-Man sells papers.
Exactly. The freak sells papers. Like, stop bringing in photos of, like, kittens and stuff. Like,
get me photos of Spider-Man!
Yeah. Get me pictures of Spider-Man! So...
I pay you $20 a day!
Little shout
Jobs? No, jobs! Freelance!
Oh, God. Gotta give him a name. Like, Dr. Octopus. Nah, it's too stupid. What's he calls him? He calls him something like, Squid Guy. Oh, too dumb. Doctor Strange. Good. But it's taken. It's like in that
Okay. Dr. Octopus.
Well, that's what Doc Ock, for short. I want a nickel every time someone says it.
He's just...
That movie acknowledges Doctor Strange exists.
Yeah.
It's great. So let's go on to Spider-Man 2, because I've just realised the battery will not survive the night.
And also,
we've got maybe another 20 minutes in us, so let's do it.
Oh shit, we can't do that. We can't do 2 and 3 in 20 minutes.
Oh, we can.
Just
right. You watch me, boyo.
Best thing about Spider-Man 2, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock.
Yeah.
He has that creepy horror sequence operation room after the
now
arms
that
get used to him.
Is flat
That's
out
Evil
Dead, right down to the bit where one of the arms pins a doctor to the wall, and he gets the quick pan shot from his like face to the table to a surgical chainsaw.
Yeah.
And he tries to use the chainsaw to hack off an arm.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just referencing yourself, and we are completely fine with this.
My hands down favourite thing about Spider-Man 2 is the Doc Ock bank heist scene, where he goes into a modern day bank vault and grabs giant brown canvas bags full of golden coins and starts throwing them around.
Yes, he does.
Like, this isn't a movie set in 2004. This is a 1960s comic book.
It's fucking great. It's the fact that he walks in 2 trench coats. He's in a really big one that covers up the arms. Because all you don't see him like wandering through the back of shot. You don't see an establishing shot of him entering. You just see him as he steps in front of the bank vault door. He rips the first coat off.
How many trench coats?
And the arms, like it might just be a bit that's been attached to the coat, but like he's got a full trench coat underneath, so I've got to assume it's 2. He rips it off the arm. Oh god, it's amazing. But he's in little glasses. And earlier on, he's in the goggles. He's got the goggles on. So what they do with Doc Ock in this movie is they make the first and probably only sympathetic version of the character.
Yeah.
Doc Ock in the comics and the Ultimate and all the cartoons is usually played as a straight up nasty piece of work.
I think they do a good job of humanising him in Superior Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, well because he becomes the main character, so you need to sort of feel for him in a way. But like, he's still a bad guy. Like he's still a villain.
Yeah.
And he's still a horrible guy and stuff. And I need to catch up. I'm like about 7 or 8 issues behind, and the cover for the latest issue is Spidey versus Hydra and the Superior Octopus.
Ooh.
And it's a Spider-Man clone body from the end of Clone Conspiracy with the tentacles, and the implication is that that's Ock now. He's made himself a new body. He's in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I need to catch up.
Okay.
But he's got like the arms up and everything, and like Hydra agents are behind him with the arms up, while his 4 thingy arms are beating the shit out of Spidey in the foreground.
Okay.
This Ock is sympathetic. This movie is slightly a remake of the first movie.
Just like Superman 2.
Just like Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
sequel.
It takes the same beats right down to the villain being a mentor character for Peter who goes through a horrible circumstance that changes him. Now, unlike Osborn, who just sort of goes full villain, Ock is redeemed by the end of the story.
Yeah.
And they sort of make a thing of, he's a good man, but he's using this harness. Like, in this, it's not him controlling the arms from a little, like,
the
control console on his belt.
His belt.
Yeah, it's like they're
chubby belt.
They're an AI that are built to keep him at a safe distance, contain the materials within a safe place, and react if something goes wrong. They're all pre-programmed to react. They react on a pre-programmed instinct to protect him and themselves.
But he's got his little inhibitor chip.
But he has a little inhibitor to make sure that he can sort of influence them slightly, but the programming doesn't sort of work both ways.
Yeah.
The inhibitor chip shorts out in the accident, and suddenly in a very kind of sort of Shakespearean thing, like the arms are Lady Macbething him.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because these films are based in science. Like, the science fiction of it is edging more toward the science. Like, because Doc Ock doesn't have the arms he has in the comics. He has ones with like, oh, this is how they work and this is what they do and they can only go this far and they've got these things built into the claws at the end. Like, the claws become more prominent than the tentacles.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, well, of course he'd put all the functions he needs in the claws and stuff. The tentacles are just to reach into things. Like, the tentacles don't wrap round things, even. They've got, like, little, sort of, they've got claws, but they've got like a mini tentacle that he uses a couple times that comes out of the end of one of them. Yeah. So it's like these are a practical tool. So to make it more like keep it sort of supervillainy and stuff, they then break their whole science first in the science fiction rule and make it so they're almost like angel and devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like they're just evil.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Odd, and it's sort of very loosely explained as the basic AI programming of them is affecting his thought process because the inhibitor chip's gone. Yeah. So he is acting purely on like, no, we need to do the experiment and we'll do this and we'll do that. This is what we'll do. And he's not thinking about the consequences.
It's implied that they're talking to him.
Yeah. Well, I think that was done. I think that was done to give it that visual of like
because he talks back to them. I think that was so great in this.
He sells it. It's such a ridiculously stupid concept. Like Bruce Campbell fighting his hand in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like Norman Osborn having a conversation with his reflection. Like it's a stupid concept. And like the other two actors before him, Molina sells it. He sells it completely. Ock is a great villain.
Spider-Man loses his mojo. We get the Spider-Man no more
which they don't explain, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like, you have the scene with the Doctor, which in 2.1 is a bit extended, where he basically says you need to become, like, you know, this friend of yours, like, maybe he needs to sort of be completely comfortable within himself. And that's what he needs to do. So the implication is he's off his game because he's thinking about so much, he's stretching himself too thin.
Performance anxiety, very common in men.
But it is. That's the story. Yeah. And that's the whole point of it. That's, and they don't do a big explanation. There's no like scene where he's sort of like, I know, it's because of this. I'm going to do this. No, you feel it.
Yeah.
The music, the pacing, Maguire's like expressions, you get it.
The train. The train's so good!
Oh my god, the train set piece. Okay, so...
You want him? You're gonna have to go through us!
Hand me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Alright. So good.
Shots them sideways. Yeah, watching 2.1 last night was the first time I'd seen that edit of it, which is basically Spider-Man 2.1.
I don't think I've seen 2.1.
It's Spider-Man 2, but with about 7 minutes of footage put back in.
Yeah.
There's a scene, before Peter goes to the doctor, there's a scene where MJ's shopping with another one of the actors, you know, the actress she's on stage with earlier on, where she's going shopping with one of the actors and she's talking about, like, being with John Jameson, because she's now engaged to Jameson's son.
Yeah.
Son... gotta get those moon rocks, son! Gotta become
be...
a werewolf, son!
Gotta be man-wolf, son!
Never happens. But I think there were plans for it to happen in
There's plans for everything to happen in...
If I remember correctly, it was in a draft of 3. Because the studio were trying to force Venom on Raimi.
Oh.
And he was like, right, I won't do Venom, but I'll set Venom up, I'll do the black suit. So we'll have James. So like based on I think the animated series from the '90s version where Jameson comes down, there's a man-wolf story, but the black goo is attached to the shuttle. So I think they were going to do something like that. So it would have been Sandman, the black suit, and the man-wolf.
Yes.
But Avi Arad and everything, everyone pushed him toward Venom himself because that's what they thought people wanted. So yes, my dear. So she has a scene with this actress where she basically is like, do you really want to get married to this guy? Like, she's testing out. It's the scene where MJ basically has to confront to another person that maybe that she's not making the right decision. And then it's immediately followed by the scene with Peter consulting the doctor and asking him about, like, oh, you know, my friend had this dream where he was Spider-Man and he lost his powers and all this. And I can see why they cut that, because it's like, you've got 2 near identical scenes for those characters.
Yeah.
Maybe there could have been a way to edit it so it's back and forth between the 2 scenes at the same time, and it would work. I don't know. Who knows? And they're both learning something about themselves, blah, blah, blah. But there's also an extended bit, the fight with Doc Ock after the bank, where they're scaling up the building. There's a bit where, while May's hanging from the statue, Spidey knocks Ock into a window, and there's a short scuffle in a room in the building before he knocks him back out of the window. I was like, oh my god, that's new. The elevator scene.
Oh, yeah.
Where he can't swing, so he gets the lift down, the guy gets in the lift, and he just sort of looks at him and he goes, big fan or whatever, and he goes, yeah, and then he says, nice suit. He's like, Thanks. That scene is like a minute and a half long. And the guy works for like a media company that like they're representatives. They're a brand. He's a brand representative.
Oh.
And he's basically trying to pitch ideas to him for what he should do. And Spidey sort of tries to take his card and is like, "Well, I don't have any pockets." He's like, "Oh, right. Well, I mean, you remember the name, remember the website, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And then Spidey leans forward and presses the button again, like to try and get the lift to go quicker. I love it. This is a fun little sequence. You get that really, really nice stuff where, obviously, the first movie had the iconic kiss between Spidey and MJ. It's again one of those scenes where you're like, "Oh my god, that scene will outlive the movie."
Yeah.
That's one of those scenes.
It's iconic.
It's like, there are people who've never seen Casablanca but know about, certain scenes in that movie. Like, scenes survive past the film that they're in.
Yeah.
There are loads of people who haven't seen The Exorcist are well aware that Reagan's head spins around and she vomits everywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? These things happen.
Moments, yeah.
Spider-Man, the upside down kiss will always outlive it. And the payoff of their romance works really well in Spider-Man 2. Like, it works really, really well. That's the best that Maguire and Dunst are together on screen as Peter and MJ.
Yeah, to be fair, they don't have like a ton of chemistry.
No,
but when it works, it really works. Well, it just doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, and I think it works when it needs to in number 2.
Yeah,
because obviously number 2 they're a bit at loggerheads because they're not quite together.
Mm.
Like, they're not a thing, and she's sick of waiting for him to maybe try it.
He's just not doing a very good job of paying it any attention.
Right down to missing her performance. And the usher not letting him in, played by Bruce Campbell. Sam Raimi pointed something out. He says, when you watch all 3 of the movies, not so much number 3, but Bruce Campbell is his greatest enemy. Because he either defeats, insults, or inconveniences him in each of the films.
That's because Bruce Campbell's Mysterio.
Which was going to be in number 4. We'll talk about number 4 next week, when we talk about The Amazing Spider-Man taking over. But, yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh god. Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero movies ever made. To this day.
Still holds up.
And having not seen Homecoming yet, although I don't suspect it's going to quite reach this height, I think Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the next one.
No.
Yes.
We've got to do emails. So
no.
I don't want to waste time.
We're going to talk about the third one.
No!
Spider-Man 3 is what happens when a studio finally sticks its fucking oar in.
I have not seen Spider-Man 3 since I saw it in the cinema. I did not care for it.
I have seen it many times, so don't you worry, sir.
The Sandman stuff's good.
Sandman stuff's pretty great, especially when he first wakes up from the reactor. And he tries to form himself, and he tries to grab the freaking locket with a picture of his daughter in, and he can't hold it because it just sifts through his hand. The music is gorgeous. It's not Danny Elfman on that one. It's someone else doing the score for that movie. But it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful, that sequence. And the CGI, again, holds up in that moment because you don't see any human things. There's no real things for it to play off against. So it doesn't age.
I think the thing that annoys me the most about about Spider-Man 3...
Right.
is that there's so much good in it. But what's bad about that movie just ruins the rest of it.
This is very true. It's because the thing that's bad about it is the whole plot. It runs through the whole movie, so it intrudes on the good parts.
Mm-hmm.
We finally see Gwen Stacy in live action. She's shoehorned in, and it's kind of pointless. We see the black suit changing Peter Parker, but it's Sam Raimi's sensibilities of the 60s cutesy, dorky Spider-Man, so he's not sinister, he's just a bit of a goofy dick.
He's a dickhead and he dances.
Yeah, that sequence is... I mean, that's the thing. To his credit, it's his universe's version of Peter being corrupted by the black suit.
And Tobey Maguire does his best to sell it.
If the symbiote had rocked up in the 60s comics,
yeah,
it would have been like that sort of stuff. It would have been him... like joining the football team and out jockeying Flash Thompson or something. It wouldn't have been him turning into a piece of work and a bit of a monster and then realising the error of his ways.
Mm-hmm.
And in the film, it takes him realising that he's alienated and upset people and hurt people for him to realise, I need to get rid of this thing, it's changing me. Avi Arad forced Venom into the film because Avi Arad loves Venom. It's the reason why we're getting a Venom movie, because Avi Arad loves Venom. Did you know that Venom was going to get a spin-off from the Raimi movies, post number 3? He was also going to get a spin-off from the Amazing Spider-Man movies without having been introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
And he's now getting a spin-off in a non-MCU but also somehow MCU universe, and all of them were being produced by Avi Arad, and all of them are from the same script treatment.
Listen.
He's been trying to do this since 2006.
Listen, here's the thing with...
And here's the Human Torch.
Right.
And here's Mr. Fantastic, and here's the Invisible Woman.
Avi Arad...
Do what you will with them.
Fucking loves Venom.
Do you know why? Because he was the president of Toy Biz, and Venom sold like hotcakes. When Venom showed up in the early 90s, Venom was the shit.
But you know, how many times has Venom actually been good in anything?
First appearances, New Ways to Die, which is the Matt Gargan Venom as part of an ensemble cast. Ultimate Spider-Man issues 33 to 38, the Venom story arc.
Rick Remender's Venom.
Venom's contribution to Marvel Knights Spider-Man. And the take on him in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, which is based on the Ultimate version and has some of the best fight scenes in that animated series. And we're done. And maybe Web of Shadows. Although he's not really in that. He just sort of starts the problem off.
Web of Shadows is pretty good.
Web of Shadows is pretty damn good.
So...
Venom's not... Venom is what you want to put in a Spider-Man product if that Spider-Man product and the time you're making it in happen to be the early 90s. It's no longer the early 90s. Venom can be great, but the version that they're pushing isn't. And that's the version in this movie. Eddie Brock in this movie is played, I would say, delightfully slimily for the version they used by Topher Grace.
It did sink his career.
Yeah, of course it did. It was like his most high-profile role, and it wasn't a great role in a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And it screwed him up. And he wasn't right for Venom. He was right for Eddie Brock. But then the way they write him as Venom in that third act, the whole, my spider sense is tingling, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like, what is this? What is this? What are you doing?
Also, I feel like Kirsten Dunst had kind of checked out of the movies at this point.
Yeah, the love triangle thing is horrible. There's only two scenes where it kind of works, and it's the scene where she and Harry, she and Peter are sort of separating, and she and Harry have that moment in the kitchen, and then the bit where he, as the Goblin, has already forced, she knows he's the Goblin, she forces him, he forces her to break off with Peter completely. Those two scenes are played really well by her. In the rest of the movie, it feels like she couldn't give a fuck. But hey, it's wonderful. So they tell me. Terrible, but she sings. Peter is awful. Do you know what? Now you mentioned the Goblin. One of the good scenes in the movie, for my money, is the fight in Act 1 in the first 15 minutes between Peter and Harry as the Goblin.
I quite like that.
It's pretty tight, fighting in alleyways and stuff, and it's just... But... pretty tight, son! It's a shame Harry doesn't go full Goblin, and you know when he gets, maimed by Peter toward the end of the second act, and he gets the massive facial scars. By that point, you're like, they're going to kill him, aren't they? They're going to kill him. He's going to die at the end of the movie. I quite enjoy parts of the final fight between a giant Sandman made from the sand from the construction site fighting Spider-Man and the Green Goblin.
Giant Spider-Man is...
Giant Giant-sized Spider-Man.
Giant-sized Spider-Man number 4. First appearance of Giant Sandman and the New Goblin. New Goblin's never appeared in the comics. What am I talking about? New Goblin.
Because they didn't want... give him... he's not even green. He's got a bit of green on his mask. Just give him the Green Goblin suit. Just go for it.
Yeah.
If you want the movie Harry Osborn as the Green Goblin proper, complete the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man the movie game on hard mode, and then it unlocks the Goblin storyline, where you play the game again from the beginning, with new dialogue, as Harry Osborn. You play as the Green Goblin.
That's pretty cool.
And it's a complete new control set. So you don't swing, you summon the glider, and you fly on the glider. You've got pumpkin bombs. You've got razor wire to sort of grab people and pull them towards you.
Pretty good.
It's a whole new control set, and it's brilliant. It's so good. And the guy who voice acts Harry in the game plays Harry as the Goblin in the alternate version of the campaign. So you get to know that voice for Harry, and then you're like, wait, I'm playing as Harry, but it's the same levels. But they changed the dialogue for all the characters so that it works. So you're trying to find out. You know your father was the Goblin. You figured it out, and you're trying to find out what drove him to it. So you're trying to track down the people involved in Oscorp Industries and figure out why this went the way it did.
That's pretty cool.
And someone in the military has managed to get hold of the Goblin tech, like that was left over, and has created another Goblin who is referred to in the credits, if I remember correctly, as a demo-goblin.
Hey!
So, but it's demonstration. Yeah, it's nicely done. So when you fight the Green Goblin in the 2 Green Goblin boss fights, you're fighting against a military employee who's been who's been put in there to stop you.
Ooh.
It works really well. It's pretty great. There's obviously certain secrets that you can't get to easy, like certain icons and tokens you can't find because you can't crawl on the ceiling, but if you float on the glider inside buildings just right, you can do it. It's pretty great. That's how if you want to say a Sam Raimi movie, Green Goblin, Harry, that's your best bet, really.
Okay.
Thomas Hayden Church, pretty good as Sandman. Retconning Sandman to be the person who shot Ben, I don't like. Having Sandman be involved in Ben's thing, I don't mind. But him being the one who pulled the trigger, I don't like. Because then it makes the accidental death of the burglar in the first one feel a bit weird, retroactively.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel just anymore. It's really strange. Because of the way it's played, it's like it's an accident, but you're like, well, good, he's gone. And now it's like, oh, I feel bad now.
Yeah, this movie kind of introduces a bit more murk into the sort of the moral centre of the first two, which is kind of its sort of 60s-esque moral centre is kind of what makes it.
What you're saying is the 90s pollutes the 60s.
Yeah, basically. Also, Butler exposition.
The blade that pierced his body came from his trailer. One of the greatest outtake reels you'll ever see. Although I think that's not in the outtakes. I think that was included as an Easter egg. The Easter eggs on those DVDs were great. So the Easter egg on the third one was that outtake.
Yeah.
The Easter egg on the first one was an outtake reel of the CGI. Did you ever see it?
No.
The CGI department put together, like, some of its actual technical cock-ups in the stages of animation, but some of it are ones where they've made an outtake with the CGI.
That's pretty cool.
The Easter egg on the second film is Alfred Molina, because he was from, I think, coming out of filming Spider-Man, he'd started rehearsals for Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway. Oh. So the Easter egg for that is sort of like a close-up of him on green screen with ox tentacles, so the puppeteers are like in green and they're operating them. And it's just sort of like him looking evilly down the barrel of camera and stuff, like as though he's gearing up to attack something. And it pulls out further, and he just smiles and breaks into "If I Were a Rich Man," with the tentacles clacking to the tune. It's great! The Easter eggs on those DVDs were amazing, and that's why I've kept the DVDs. Once I discovered the Blu-rays have no extras, I was like, right, I'm keeping these DVDs. I'm keeping those. So good. Spider-Man 3 is a mess, and it was killed from interference. Sam Raimi didn't want Venom. He wanted to tell a story with Sandman.
Yeah.
He wanted to do something with the Lizard. Dylan Baker was cast as Connors in 2 and 3 because he wanted to bring the Lizard into it.
Yes.
He was open
to... Billy D. Williams effect.
Yeah, when they pushed for Venom, he was open to the black suit, like I said.
Yeah.
But it just didn't. They didn't know. They wanted Venom, and that's why Venom's in the movie for so very little, because he was like, right, that's as much as I can put up with. For number 4, he wanted no interference.
Fit in,
yeah,
like because he was so bloated with all that shit going on.
For number 4, he wanted no interference from the studio, and he nearly got no interference for the first part of the pre-production. Then they started to dig their claws in, and that's when he gave up. Because they needed to rush him, because if they didn't hurry up, they'd have to renegotiate the rights with Marvel Studios. And that's where everything went to shit. But we'll talk more about that next week. All in all, the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man movies is a lot of fun. It follows the traditional trilogy structure of great movie, better movie. Oh God! You know what? I'm gonna cook dinner while I watch this. I'm not gonna pay attention to it entirely. Sort of movie. But I highly recommend them. Tobey Maguire is a fantastic Spider-Man in the trilogy. I can't. Oh, man. I can't see another Spider-Man movie topping Spider-Man 2 for me at the moment.
We'll see.
I'm open to it. I don't think Homecoming will be it. I think Homecoming will be a bit too deep-rooted as an MCU movie to be a Spider-Man movie yet.
When it first came out...
But I am excited to see what they do.
When it first came out, I thought Amazing Spider-Man 2 might have pipped it for me. Amazing Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man 2, Jesus. Amazing Spider-Man might have pipped it for me, but I don't. Even though it's a newer movie, I don't think Amazing Spider-Man has held up as well as Spider-Man 2 has.
No, absolutely not. No,
So.
I think with Amazing Spider-Man, we were glad at the time it was a new thing because it was like, oh shit, they're doing a bit more fantasy here. Like our villain is the Lizard. Like they're doing it, and it felt like a different kind of a Spidey. But I mean, that's probably why Sandman was a bit jarring, and why Venom was definitely jarring in the third, because the sci-fi of the first two was based very much in sci-fi, not fantasy.
And I think definitely
you've got an alien goo that makes a monster man with teeth for a face,
and
so
I think
it doesn't quite.
You could have gone with one of those two things, but both of them in the same movie was a bit much. It just didn't work. It's just too bloated.
Speaking of bloated, you guys sending some of your opinions about the Spider-Man by Jingo, you little sugary doos. 1 second. Oh god. Okay. We asked you briefly on Twitter. We're going to have to rush because the battery will die soon.
Oh, okay.
But on Twitter, I asked you what you thought about the Spider-Man trilogy, and immediately Matthew Jasper got in touch to say they're the kind of movies that make me want to make movies. The love and craft put into them is up on screen in every single frame.
I think that's a fair assessment.
That is a great way to word it. I will also recommend that you watch Movie Bob on YouTube. I mean, watch Movie Bob in general, but he does a series every now and again called Really That Good, and he has an episode. He basically goes in depth on films where you're like, they're held up on pedestals.
They're like 40, 45 minute, like proper long, detailed video essays.
So it's like Ghostbusters and Superman the movie and the Avengers, because that one's sort of like too soon almost, but the idea is, as an experiment, it pays off like crazy. And he goes into why, the technical reasons why, and behind the scenes and everything as to why these movies are really that good. There's an episode on Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, and it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
There's also a YouTube video, I can't remember the user's name, but it's called something like Spider-Man 2, the greatest superhero movie ever made, something like that. I'll link it on our Twitter account sometime after this episode goes out, but that's worth a watch as well, because somebody dissects why that movie is basically a perfect superhero movie.
Yeah.
So I would just watch them between now and next week, because next week, unless Homecoming's brilliant, it's all downhill next week's topic, because next week we're talking about the second movie
Speaking about going downhill, we've got an email from Tom Monty.
Oh!
I don't mean it, Tom.
We don't mean it. He doesn't mean it, Tom. He loves you really. I know. I've seen his notebook. He's got your name all over it.
And I've got instructions for this one, so we'll see how this works.
Hail! Your attention, I pray. Okay, go for it.
Greetings, Big Damn Chris and Big Damn Matt. I hope you've both had a lovely week. Doctor Who!
Oh, God.
If I hadn't been spoiled by the BBC a couple of months ago, that probably would have been the most breathtaking episode in many years. Such a great shame. And it's because of that this episode is wasted for me. It took them 45 minutes to reveal to us what we were expecting from the start. I think it took me about a couple of minutes to realise that the guy was the Master, because I was expecting him to show up at some point. Also, I think it would also have been better if they didn't announce the Mondasian Cybermen's return, because the entire ending was presumably written with the assumption that the viewer wasn't expecting either of the two villains. All that said, this is probably my favourite episode of Series 10 so far. I'm really hoping we get an explanation from Moffat next week as to how the Master ended up as a foreign-sounding hobo on the back end of a spaceship from Mondas, and how the hell the TARDIS crew, would end up there, but I'm sort of expecting no explanation at all. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Thoughts on the episode, if you haven't already spoken about it?
Well, we haven't, because we're sort of a week out of whack, so in case you're wondering what our opinions are on the Dr. Falls, you'll hear them next week. But yeah, let's have a quick chat about World Enough and Time. I don't think so.
I think it's pretty good, and I think Tom's right in that it would have worked better if the reveals hadn't been spoiled.
Yes, that is my biggest beef with it, is that we knew everything that was going to happen the moment the credits started to roll.
Yeah.
Because we'd seen it in trailers. We knew Missy was involved, we knew the Cybermen were involved, and we knew the Master was back and that he was going to be in the finale. Had we not known that, it would have been amazing, because I, unfortunately, figured out who John Sim was about 3 minutes into his character first appearing. When Mr. Razor brings Bill out into the corridor, and there's a bit more light on his face, I was like, he looks a bit prosthetic. It's John Sim. It's John Sim.
Yeah,
I can hear it in his voice now.
I knew he looked familiar, but I couldn't place his face.
Because that was the thing. He was only really John Sim from the mouth down.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, he had teeth in, but it was him. Like, the nose was a prosthetic, and the forehead was a prosthetic. But that was my problem. I saw prosthetic, and then my brain just put two and two together, like, prosthetic, and you know John Sim's in this episode somewhere. Oh, it's John Sim.
Yeah.
And it ruined it for me personally. But, again, I imagine I wasn't the only one who figured it out. And again, that's not me saying, like, I'm so clever. Just like, I imagine I wasn't the only one who sort of put two and two together that he's in this episode, and here's this character who's getting a lot of screen time. It's probably him. You got a bit more of a purer experience. You clocked it sort of toward the end of the reveal, didn't you?
I didn't.
Which I wish had happened for me.
I didn't see the reveal coming until he seen with Lisa.
You don't remember being here, do you?
As soon as he said that,
Yeah.
or whatever the first thing he says that implies that he knows.
It's like, I've been waiting.
Yeah. As soon as he implies he knows, I'm like, oh, okay, that's Johnson.
Yeah.
But I knew it was someone in prosthetic, obviously, because no one looks like. Well, some people do look like that. Yeah. But like,
He was clearly having a lot of fun. That was fun to watch. And I do like the scenes between him and Bill, because here's the thing: the Master is a master of deception.
Yeah.
So the fact that he befriends her, and I think that there's a subtle implication that their part of the story takes place like over nearly a year.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
So, they say years.
So that's brilliant, because it's like, oh my god! So for years, he believably has been wonderfully nice to her. Like, he's not like, when she's leaving the room, he's not going like, oh, I can't believe I'm having to put up with this. It's like, no, he plays the role that entire time. He plays the role and is her friend and takes care of her. And their scenes together are really sweet.
Pretty impressive.
And that's why it's so evil. 'Cause it's like, oh, you bastard. Like, you've been playing a long game. But yeah, and I do like his explanation. He says, like, I couldn't, like, go looking, I had to wear a disguise, because otherwise she'd be wondering why she's talking to her former Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's why he's in a disguise for Bill, because otherwise it's like, why is he in disguise? Like, she's never met him. Oh, of course, yeah. She'll have seen him all over television several years ago. So fair enough. I like all the hospital stuff. I think the build-up was nice. The problem is we knew where it was going. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Had we had no idea that they'd be doing the original Cybermen, because that's what they're called. The original Cybermen. Not this fucking...
The Mondasian Cybermen.
No, they're not called the Mondasian Cybermen. That's what Peter Capaldi said in an interview 2 years ago, and they decided that, that's what they're called now. No, they're the Cybermen. We don't call the ones from 2006 the Pete's World Cybermen, the Cybermen, the alternate Universian Cybermen. No,
but I think
Five fans have been taking the piss out of it wonderfully. In their latest video, they have the Lego Dimension Cybermen. Spider-Men. Oh god.
I think no, I don't. I think you only need a name for them because there's now lots of different versions of Cybermen.
No, but they're the Spider. Oh, fuck it.
They're the Spider-Men.
They're the Spider-Men. They're the Cybermen. Like, they are the Cybermen.
Mondasian Spider-Men.
God. But they are. Like, as you're going to later on be like, they're the Telosian Cybermen.
Well, no, because the Telosian Cybermen are the Mondasian
I know, I'm taking the piss. The point is, it's like, I hope they don't keep calling them that for the rest of the story. And you didn't need to say it in the first place. But it's weird. It's weird. Because there's no character for him to say, this is where they started in our universe. I think
that's a weird thing to get hung up on.
I know. Well, I don't know. It feels a little fan wanky in a way where I'm like, they were never called that until this episode.
Yeah, but because they never needed to be called that, because now we have to distinguish them as Cybermen from our
But hey,
universe,
the next time trailer shows a load of Cybermen, so that means that they're a deadly threat, right? Oh wait, no, they're being exploded and they're flying left, right and centre all over the screen. Do you know what that does? Do you know what that happens when you show the Cybermen being blown up and flying everywhere? It makes them less invincible and scary. It makes them look like stupid tin soldiers.
Do you think the Cyberbriggs are blowing them all up?
Oh, for fuck's sake,
Let's go on to the rest of the questions.
I don't want Bill to be turned back. She will be, but I don't want her to be turned back. Because, and that's not me saying like, oh, don't bring her back as a character. No, it means something. In this episode, they say conversion is permanent.
Can we have, please, a finale that doesn't end with a big reset button being pressed?
Can we have a finale that doesn't feature Missy and the Cybermen again.
No, we can't. It's in the contract. It's in Michelle Gomez's contract.
Oh, God.
How much information backstory do you guys think we'll get on the Master in next week's
None.
story?
None. They'll give us none. Which is
none.
stupid because we need it now.
Yeah.
Like, this is the second time the Master has returned from Gallifrey with no explanation. Loud-ass volume coming from upstairs. We need an explanation now. But they won't give it. They won't. He won't. I guarantee. And if he does, I'll be very surprised.
How long did you guys take to realise that it was the Master? I think we've covered that one.
Yeah.
I think we might actually see the Doctor regenerate next week because I can't see them doing 2 cop-out regenerations.
Regeneration has been weakened as a dramatic thing. When the opening of this episode happened, I was like, alright. I wasn't excited or gripped because he'd faked one earlier in the series. Moffat turned one of them into an incarnation retroactively. The Doctor's used his regeneration energy to heal people. Regeneration means less now because of this. But I don't disagree. I think, again, you guys will know, because by the time you're listening to this, it'll already been out. Yeah. But I think he's going to regenerate in 13. Whether we see the next one or next Doctor or not, I don't know. But I think the regeneration will begin, and I think the Christmas special will be some Mind Palace bullshit.
We'll see.
There's some, I'm not even going to say exactly what, but there's some leaked from the edge of set photos that have been doing the rounds on some websites this week that make me simultaneously sad and angry.
Okay.
But also, hopefully, no offence to the people who do enjoy the material from Doctor Who set reporting, but it does mean, hopefully, that they will crack down on security like never before for the next series, because it's getting daft now.
It is getting daft.
It's getting daft. That people go like, so, you don't have to read them if you don't want to see spoilers. It's like, yeah, but you're putting them out there. So sometimes, you might hashtag them and put them into a category and behind, like a spoiler button or whatever, but other people aren't as considerate.
Also respect the integrity and privacy of the work.
Yeah, but if they didn't want us to watch, they'd tell us to leave. They're not telling you to leave because they're being polite.
Yeah.
They're being polite. If they had their way, there would be no one watching. They appreciate the support. It's not that they don't like the fans, but I think they'd like to just do their job.
But they are filming a television show, they're not doing street theatre.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe just leave them alone.
Exactly. If you want to meet them, go to the events.
Yeah.
Go to the screenings and the music performances and things like that. Don't go to set. Just don't.
Do you think this is the end for Asbill, or can you picture Moffat bringing yet another companion back after supposedly killing them off? Again, I think we've covered that.
I think.
I hope it is.
They're either going to bring her. They're either going to somehow reset what happens to her, or she's going to be a vision in Christmas or something. Guaranteed. That's what's going to happen.
Strange watching this last one.
What's your pin?
And finally, on Saturday night this week, immediately after watching the series finale of Doctor Who Series 10, what 3 emotions, thoughts do you predict you will be experiencing? I won't be experiencing that Saturday night because I'll be fucking working. I'll probably be watching it at some point on Sunday.
Yeah, and I, based on what time it's on, I might be having dinner at my brother's, so I'll probably watch it on catch up.
The way my week stacked up for this coming week, aka the week that's just gone by the time you're listening to this, I might well not watch it until Friday.
Yeah.
The following Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, God. Avoid the internet.
Have another lovely week, assuming that your previous week got lovely. Tom Monty. I apologise for the meatiness of this email. Do not apologise. I love a bit of meat.
The Montiness of this email. It's a big old Monty one.
This one comes from Other Dave.
Alright.
There is no subject.
Is that what the subject says?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the thing that Gmail does, or if it's just... No, that's what he's typed.
Bloody weird.
Hello, Big Damn Cast. I have recently become morbidly curious about the world of Batman comics.
Mince!
Vague passing familiarity with the Batmans beforehand. I've been told that Frank Miller's Year 1 is a good place to start. Is it? Are there better starting points? Are Batman comics worth getting into at all? All the best... Other Dave.
Hey, Other Dave. Year 1 isn't a good place to start if you're looking to then carry on with the next chronological thing, because it's sort of a one-off. But, as an introduction to Batman, if you like the movie Batman Begins, I'd recommend giving Year 1 a read.
Here's the thing with comics, right? And this is what you need to understand. I mean, if you're into any comics at all, you might already get this, but here's Right.
Oh God, oh my God, he's changed into a tweed suit, he's lit a fireplace, and he's sitting down with a giant leather-bound volume.
Comics have been around for a long time. And these characters have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's been around for 55 years.
Yeah.
Batman's been around for over 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of fiction. You're gonna have to not worry about continuity.
Yes.
You're gonna have to be like, okay, this is a story about the Batman. Batman is mythical and timeless, and this story is set in a certain time period, even though there's another story set in the modern day and he's the same age or younger or even a little bit older, and it contradicts things that happened in this earlier story. It doesn't matter.
Comic books are a cold pool in Spain. You want to get in, but it's a bit too cold, so you dip your toe, and then you go for a whole foot. What you need to do is then just go, like you do with the pool, fuck it, and jump in. It's what you got to do. It's what you have to do. Now I want to go on holiday.
Get a pen, Other Dave.
Get a pen, son!
This is what you want. Year one is a good starting point for the mood of Batman. Once you've read this is for the mood and the tone of great Batman stories. You want to go Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. You want to go Batman, The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Yes.
You want to go Batman, Dark Victory by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Sequel to The Long Halloween. So you get a sense of continuity.
Read Batman Year 2. It is dog shit. It is really, really bad. Do not read Batman Year 2. That will get you, like, a good sense of Batman's early history, even though it's contradicted by later stories. Don't worry about it. They're great Batman stories, and they'll get you right for the feel of it. If you want to get caught up with modern Batman, what you want to do is, you're looking for Batman with the New 52 on the cover of the trades. Volume 1, Batman, The Court of Owls by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Follow that series through all 10 volumes, and then pick up the Rebirth series that's just started by Tom King. The first trade of which is called I Am Gotham. That's modern Batman. The Scott Snyder Greg Capullo run is great. Well worth your time, well worth reading. It rewrites Batman's origin. 0 Year, which is the 3rd and 4th volumes of the trades, directly contradicts Year 1.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not important. Year 1, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, to give you a sense of Batman. They're just good Batman stories.
Yeah, that's sort of the closest to, like, if you want something that sort of is in a continuity, that's a good place to give it a try.
But if you want to get caught up on modern Batman, go for the Scott Snyder run, read those 10 trades, and then I Am Gotham is the first trade of the current series, written by Tom King under the DC Rebirth banner. I'm 25 issues into that series, so I'm an issue behind as of the time of recording. Pretty fucking good.
What would you recommend as, say, like, 3 just one-off stories? If you just want to... If what you're looking for, Dave, is just to dip in and try some books, not necessarily in a continuity, but you just want to give some a try, what would you recommend?
Hush.
Hush is a blockbuster. Hush is like a 12-issue blockbuster event. One big sprawling story. You get to meet a shit ton of the villains, ones you recognise, some you don't. It tells you everything about them as you go. You'll meet characters who, even I didn't know when I read that book, who by the end of it you're like, oh, that's who they are, okay.
In conjunction
Hush is great. Hush is brilliant.
With, like, Long Halloween and Dark Victory, it's a great whistle-stop tour of all the villains.
Yeah.
So Hush, I would say I want to say the Black Mirror, but you have to bear in mind that the Batman in that book is Dick Grayson.
I mean, if you're just looking to dive into a good story, pick up the Black Mirror, absolutely. Because it's like 3 stories, isn't it? It's 3
there's like 3 stories in there. But
Bruce Wayne's not Batman in it. Dick Grayson, Robin, is now Batman.
There was a thing that caused that, which I'll get into
But if you can just accept that, you'll have a whale of a time.
And thirdly, a death in the family. Not death of the family, that's part of the Scott Snyder run.
Death in the family.
Which is the death of Jason Todd, the second Robin. Great story for the Joker as well. I just mentioned that Dick Grayson was Batman for a while. This is advanced Batmaning.
Okay, here's your level 2 Batmaning.
This is advanced Batmaning. not everyone likes the Grant Morrison Batman run. I think it might be my favourite run on the character.
Is this Batman and Robin and Batman and Son and all
it
that
starts
stuff? Yeah.
Batman and the Son.
Yeah.
The Black Glove. Which I think
the Black Glove is great.
They're together. Batman and Son Deluxe Edition is both of them, I think.
Yeah.
So you just need to get Batman and Son Deluxe Edition. Batman and Son. R.I.P.
Spider-Man, Cyberman.
Batman R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
Then the first 3 volumes of Batman and Robin by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely.
Yes.
Which is Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin after Bruce Wayne's apparent death. Then there's a return of Bruce Wayne, which leads into Batman Incorporated.
Yes, which is great.
Which is really, really
That's
good.
advanced Batmaning.
That's advanced Batmaning. If you really like Batman, definitely check out the Grant Morrison run. It's not for everyone, because it really plays into like all the 60s Silver Age weirdness.
Yeah.
Like, it gets fucking weird. But I really, really like it. So yeah, I hope you wrote all those down. We should do a big Batman episode at some point.
We should, a big damn Batman episode.
Yeah.
A bat damn episode.
There you go. I'm always happy to give recommendations for for comic characters that I know, but that'll get you off.
I'll get you off.
Yeah. you can do. I would personally just go for Year One, Long Halloween, and Dark Victory, because if you like those, you'll like 90% of all Batman stories. So.
But enough about Batman. It's Big Damn Spider Month here on the Big Damn channel and on Big Damn Cast. And to celebrate, we've got more Spider-Man content coming your way, including this Sunday. We've got a Big Damn love from Matthew on a certain comic book era for Spider-Man and a specific storyline from the time. We've also got some cheeky Let's Play of Ultimate Spider-Man coming out next week as well. There's a bit of an extension of my Big Damn Love episode. We've got audio commentaries coming up, and next week we'll be talking about The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming. So get in touch. You know how. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. You can also hit us up anytime during the week at BigDamnCast on Twitter. We will always be happy to chat with you about nonsense and bullshit. And, of course, if you're not subscribed to this channel already, give it a cheeky sub. That's all we've got time for this week.
And of course, with it being Spider-Month, we've got the hottest cheats for the hottest Spider-Man games.
Oh, right.
The fresh Spider-Man for PlayStation 1.
4.
Special menu codes for the
4.
PS1 Spider-Man game, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
From the main menu, select special, then enter any of the following cheat codes where underscore equals a space. Rust Crust. That's RUSTCRST.
Yeah, that, oh shit, I don't know which one that is. What is that? What is it?
Invincibility.
Oh, right, okay.
DC.
This was my favourite PS1 game, by the way, so I should remember at least one of these.
That's DCSTUR. That's Infinite Health.
Right.
Excelsior.
Yeah.
That's CLSIOR.
That's all levels.
That's the level select.
Yes!
Dulux.
Ooh.
That's DULUX, like the paint.
That's, is that all characters?
It's a big-headed hero.
Big-headed heroes, damn it.
Strudel. STRUDL.
Yeah.
That's unlimited webbing.
Yeah.
Gibbishum. That's GBHSRSPM. What if contest.
Oh, that's great. That's great because the Watcher appears to you when you do your playthrough if you've completed it already once.
Christopher.
Yeah.
This is Cheat Corner.
Yeah.
Cheat Corner's my segment.
Oh.
Shut the fuck up! Yeah, I like it when you cry. Yeah, I like it. So, if you want to get all the comic book covers, what you do is you type all 6CC. That's ALLSIXCC. You want to get all the movies, you go watch underscore because I like to watch them.
And if you type a swear word and he punches the screen.
Fucking Christopher!